baby. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. No, don't like that. Don't like that. Only because for a second, I'm like, what'd I break? Welcome in, folks. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. How you doing, America? I have to tell you,
America.
I come in here on the daily, and one of the first things that I do is I look through the text messages on the Hub City Spartanburger text line at 844-326-3663, which you can text anytime, day or night. The first thing I do is I look through the Hub City Spartanburger text line to see, I listen to about an hour of Wire to Wire every afternoon, but I don't get to listen to the whole thing. So I look through to see, all right, what were the fellas? What were Kerosene and Cole Bryan talking about yesterday? What was the raging topic of the show yesterday? Because, sometimes I go, ooh, I like that. I'm stealing it. Or sometimes I go, ooh, that's a hot take. I'd like to address that.
It's not stealing. It's also commenting on it.
That's it. It. Whatever it is, I go, maybe there's some content from their show that it should be addressed on our show.
You just like making it on their promos.
I also like making it on their promos. Makes me feel like I'm doing something good when I am recognized by those two titans of broadcasting.
It's a good word for them.
So, yesterday, obviously, they were discussing the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson weird interview that we talked about earlier this week. And someone sent a text in the midst of their show where, and I guess they must have been asking, like, why is Bill Belichick dating a smoking hot 24-year-old girl while in his 70s?
Yeah, I'm sure they asked that question verbatim. I mean, because that's a question that needs to be asked. I wasn't trying to imply that you were implying that they absolutely asked that question.
Just in the context of the responses that were coming in on the text line, that appears to be the question that was talked about or was proposed by someone. And the very last text of the day came in and said, have we considered the effects it has on recruiting? 18-year-old kids are seeing old Bill catching marlins out here, and they're looking for some tush too. The suggestion that my man Bill...
Wait, catching marlins? Are you sure you didn't text that in there? I mean...
Yes, I have never referred to dating a hot chick as catching marlins.
It sounds like...
I like it. It is absolutely something I would say.
Yeah, that's if I saw that written down, I would think that you were the one who wrote it. Because it has a Florida vibe to it. Because not everybody catches I mean, I'm not sure what a marlin looks like. Is it like a swordfish?
Kinda.
So maybe I do have a vision in my mind. It's something that's really hard to catch too.
It is. Marlin are enormous. They're huge fish. Blue marlin, white marlin, blue marlin, the bigger ones, white marlin, the smaller ones. They're prize fish. They're enormous fish. If you get into a fight with a blue marlin, that is a fight you are committing 5, 6, 7 hours to land that fish. It is if you land a blue marlin that is recognizably large, it's a highlight reel. It is maybe the best thing you'll ever do as an angler. So it's an absolutely perfect catchphrase because it's literally a trophy fish. It is a fish that you take the pictures of, you have it stuffed, you hang it on the wall. No, honey, I don't care if you don't want an 8.5 foot long blue marlin hung on our living room wall. This is the greatest thing I'll ever do with my life. It's getting hung.
All right, so I know I'm doing that thing, but is that a reference that kids are using today, or is that just specific to a certain audience that would get that? Because I don't think everyone gets that. I mean, in the context, I suppose you can figure it out. Not everybody's that smart, though. So
No, I don't think it's like popular vernacular.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think it's like.
So if I went to the mall and bust that out, I mean, I wouldn't get like high fives and daps and stuff.
No,
right?
I think much like you did, the implication is there. Like the understanding of what that means. I may not know specifically what it means, but I think if somebody goes, "Oh, Bill landed a marlin, didn't he?" You'd be like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get what that phrase means. I understand what that phrase means." And if that if that phrase went over your head and you're going, I don't really know what that means, but you figured out the context, I would like to play you a clip very quickly from a baseball game. This is Kansas City Royals play-by-play man Rex Hudler. They were doing a Royals game. I'm not sure if it was last night or a couple nights ago, but there was a full moon. And
wow, that couldn't have happened any more perfect than you say full moon and your light went out.
There was a full moon, and old Rexy baby and his color guy found themselves having a conversation about it. And this happened. And I forgot to change the button again. Hold, please. I'll get it worked out. Here we go. And this happened.
Comply with the Federal Communications Commission's rule that if you are broadcasting a live sporting event and there is a full moon, you must have at least one shot of that full moon during the game broadcast.
I like that rule. It's a beautiful planet.
Well, it's a moon.
That looks like a planet to me.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's school day at the K. I'm going to go out and see.
Maybe they can cover the whole star, planet, and moon concept.
That might be good. I need to be refreshed a little.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so mean.
It's not mean.
Yeah.
No.
You and I would never have a conversation like that.
Lonzo, I am going to warn you now. You ever call the moon a planet? And the Rob's really a nice guy vibe goes away immediately.
It's more of a satellite than it is a planet.
It is by definition a satellite.
Yeah,
that is the actual term for it. It is a satellite. You know what it's not?
I'm not a smart man.
You know what it's not? A planet. And I'm going to say, I feel like we need to get to a point where we have like baseline expectations of intelligence. Like just baseline.
All right, who is the color guy? Is he a former player?
Does it matter?
Well, it does, kind of.
No, it doesn't.
Because players are coddled to a degree, and there is a stereotype that they don't really have to go to classes that everybody else has to go to. And this would
kindergarten?
No,
the moon is a planet. Is covered in first grade.
No, it's not. It's not. I can tell you that firsthand. It's not.
Maybe it's not in Ohio.
No, I just happen to have firsthand knowledge of a first grader.
Does your first grader call her right now and be like, "Hey, baby, what do you think the moon is?"
Yeah, I don't know.
This may give you a hint. This might give you a hint, but its name is the moon. The moon's name is the moon. That's what we call it. It's called the moon. There are moons everywhere. This one is the moon. This man said the moon, which is called the moon, is a planet. We don't call it the planet. It's a full the planet tonight.
I think it's called the moon because it's the first moon that we discovered. And then we found out that other planets actually have
correct
moons. So
moon. It is called a moon. That has nothing else to do with it. It is just the moon. And this man went, "Oh, yes, the moon. What a lovely planet
Tracy,
the moon is."
Don't do that.
What a beautiful planet the moon is. It is not what the moon is not a satellite. It's not a planet, but closer to a planet than a satellite. No, Tracy, I love you. Thanks for being here. You're amazing. Every word of that is wrong. Every word. By definition, it is a satellite.
All right.
By definition.
Yes, the moon is a natural satellite of Earth, according to Google. So it's got to be true. I've always heard it's a satellite. And
there's a reason for that, Lonzo. The reason you've always heard it's a satellite is because It is. That's what it is.
But by the way, listen to the song "New Moon" on Monday by Duran Duran. They call it a lonely satellite. I'm just saying.
Again,
yeah.
If
Duran Duran says it, it must be true.
If your only knowledge of the moon came from a Duran Duran song, you are still more knowledgeable about the moon than this guy is. What are we doing here? Like, I got to tell you, it's not often, but there are some days where I'm like, maybe we should bring back bullying a little bit. Right, like not like wholesale bullying, not like bullying people because of
because bullying is completely gone away. There's no bullying anywhere.
Maybe we should be like a little pro bullying, not like a lot pro bullying, but like a little pro bull. Like maybe it should be one of those things where somebody goes, they're bullying me, and you go, okay, what about? And if the guy goes, well, because I called the moon a planet, we got to go. You kind of asked for it a little bit. You kind of asked for that one a little bit. What with the whole, it's not that, right? That's not what that is. You're just empirically wrong about a thing whose name tells you what it is.
And I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, but when we first put satellites up into orbit, it's because the moon is a satellite of the Earth, and it orbits the Earth. So it makes sense that a satellite that you put into space would probably do the same thing.
The definition.
But is the Earth a satellite of the sun?
Technically speaking, it operates as a satellite, but the definition of a satellite in a scientific sense is a celestial body orbiting another planet. We technically are a satellite to the sun, but are not a satellite ourselves, despite the fact that we perform the function of a satellite. But the definition of a satellite is utilized as orbiting another planet.
See, I mentioned that because I knew that's what Tracy was thinking on the stream, thinking about, the satellites that we send up into space.
Right.
But that idea came from looking at the moon and realizing what the moon does, and then understanding how the atmosphere and orbits and all that kind of stuff works.
The moon is a satellite. The moon is a moon.
That's no moon.
It's a moon. It's definitionally a satellite. It is a moon. And my man straight up with his whole chest said, what a beautiful planet. I got to tell you, old color guy in that was way nicer than I would have been in that situation. Way nicer than I would have been. He's like, well, it's a moon. And the guy's like, oh, I've always thought it was a planet. Well, then you need to go back to, I don't know, third grade or so.
I try not to be overly critical of Kansas City Royals stuff, but that's just me.
This has nothing to do with the team. That guy could have been the New Orleans Saints play-by-play guy, and I still would have been like, yep, you asked for this one, pal. You asked for this one. Basic general stuff here.
Are you going to go into like 3 segments about how bad the American educational system is or something? Sometimes just if you don't think about it, chances are dude was probably taught that, because as you said, it is taught in school, but I don't think as early as you say.
Dude was never taught that the moon's a planet.
Just because
it's never happened.
Just because you're taught something. No, I'm talking about he was taught it was a satellite and he just forgot and thought it was a planet. It's because you're taught something doesn't mean you're listening or actually grasping what's being taught to you.
Then it's not the American education system's fault. He might have been
thinking about baseball.
I think there's a lot about the American education system that we should be cleaning up. I think that the current ideas floating around about it are way too extreme. All right, you want to open some worms? Let's open some worms.
Yeah, I was just kidding. We don't need to do that.
But there is not a science teacher anywhere that has gone, it's a full planet tonight. Do you know why? Because it's called the moon. All right, I don't even know, I don't know why that got under my crawl. I heard that clip this morning, and I'm like, well, there's somewhere in the show for this. You know what else there's space in the show for? Last night's 2 NBA games. 1 Game 6 ends a series. 1 Game 6 forces a Game 7. We're going to talk about how it was the Clippers survived and how the Knicks moved on. I got that coming up for you later on in the show. 4 games across Lord Stanley's Cup playoffs last night. 3 of them end in a Game 6. One team, Colorado, able to force a Game 7. We'll talk some hockey later on in the radio program. I had a conversation earlier this week with a buddy of mine who's a big baseball guy. And we were having a discussion about the Savannah Bananas because this individual, I will just say, is connected to the local sports scene. And you know, with very rare exception, one of the primary goals of local small professional sports teams is to get people to come out to games, buy tickets, come out to games, get involved, right? You want people, when someone buys a ticket and they go to a game, they want a full arena, they want a full stadium. And this individual said, I do not understand why it is that local professional teams regularly find themselves fighting for attendance, and the Savannah Bananas were able to put 70,000 people into Death Valley, into Clemson Memorial Stadium for a one-off, not baseball game that included a left field wall that was 18 feet behind third base. How in the world are local teams across America fighting for their existence, but the Savannah Bananas are filling up NFL stadiums? They got a game coming up in Charlotte in a couple of weeks at BOA, not at where the Knights play up there, at Bank of America, and they will have more people in the bank than the Carolina Panthers have had in the bank in like 6 or 7 years. And this guy was very frustrated by the fact that the Bananas filled up Clemson. They're filling up the bank. They're filling up arenas while local teams are fighting to survive. And I actually had an answer for him. I had an answer, and we can get all into the, it's all about the fan first experience and all that. But that ain't it. That ain't the real answer. I'm going to tell you what it is when we come back. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo. You are listening to The Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's the Fan Upstate.
Boyfriend.
All right, guys, good morning. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I got a live read.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, dudes and dudettes. We back.
Whenever we go over there, and that's what Lisa gets. And by the way,
Where is it?
well, there's one on 276. Forget which direction. Tag on it. JJ has not put Sports Flash in. Tim is not here. That's not good. I will have to find a way to put it in. It's not that far away. For us, there's one in Simpsonville, so they're building them all over the place. Surprised there's not one up your way somewhere.
I don't know that there is or isn't, to be honest with you. I think that may be one of those restaurants that's like, it's just never, like, it's never in my line of sight. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan of State. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. If you want to be a part of the show, the Hub City Spartanburger text line is open, 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You can use that number to text the show. You can use that number to call the show. If you want to come at us in that direction, you can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, tweet Lonzo at Lonzo one word, tweet everybody at The Fan Upstate. So, earlier this week, I had the opportunity to sit down and have lunch with a friend of mine who is involved in the local professional sports scene. And we were having a conversation because some of the folks in the area will ask me, hey, what are folks talking about? What are folks involved in? What do folks get intrigued by on the show? I am an asset to them the way that those local teams are an asset to me, providing content, et cetera, et cetera. So he said, what are folks talking about? Because local sports teams, like any other organization, want to do whatever they can do that get people interested and wanting to buy tickets and come out to games and be involved with the local teams and basically find a way to get us as potential fans interested enough to get involved. And so we were going through this conversation and he said, Rob Brown, can I tell you what I do not understand? He said, I do not understand how it is that there are local sports teams that put on dozens of games a year, local sports teams that do their best to make sure that their games are entertaining, that their games are engaging, that they are putting out. He wasn't quite as wordy as I'm being right now, but this was the gist of the take. That try to make their games compelling so that when you buy a ticket and you come out, whether the team wins or loses, you go, well, that was a good time. That was fun. I'll come back and do this again. And he said, I'm kind of frustrated right now. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I had multiple staff members who went down to Clemson to watch the Savannah Bananas play. And we did so because we were looking to find out what it is that this team is doing well. He said, this is a team that plays around the Southeast, that plays out of Savannah, Georgia, but they crammed 70,000 people into Death Valley, into Clemson. They played a baseball game on a football field. And in playing on the football field, the left field wall was 10 feet behind third base. A routine pop fly was a home run in this game. And we have a hard time getting a few thousand people to show up for our games when we go out of our way to make our games as compelling and entertaining and interesting as we possibly can. This team is selling out football stadiums to play short baseball games, right? The whole concept of Banana Ball is it is fast-paced. It is not traditional by any stretch of the imagination. It is, let's get in and out of there in, 2 hours, whatever. He said, as interesting as we possibly can. And we got to go out there and fight to get a few thousand people in the stands. This team is selling out Death Valley. This team is selling out Bank of America Stadium. They're playing in Charlotte at the Bank. I've got a buddy up in Charlotte who got in on the Bananas lottery because they have to do a lottery so that they can fairly distribute tickets to play in an NFL stadium. He said, I don't understand it. I said, I actually have an answer for you. I have an answer for you. And you're not going to like it. But there is an answer. When the Bananas were playing at Clemson, it was broadcast, I think, on one of the ESPN offshoots.
Yeah, I think it might have been 2. It could have been you, but I do remember scanning through and seeing that. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it was on 2. And so I said, I can tell you exactly what the Bananas have done. And you're not going to like it. But I can tell you what they've done. Because while that game was on, there was also on another channel a Clemson baseball game that was taking place. A very important Clemson baseball game. And I was sitting on a couch with the lady friend. And I was watching the Clemson baseball game. And she was on her phone, scrolling the gram or whatever she was doing. And when Clemson went to a break, I had forgotten that the Bananas were playing at Clemson that day. So during a break in the Clemson baseball game, I flipped over to the Bananas game. Like, let me check in on the Nanners. Let me see what they're doing. And I put it on. I didn't say anything to the wife because I didn't want to interrupt whatever she was doing. So I just put it on. And at some point, she broke away from the phone and she looked up. And here are the Bananas in their all yellow unis, taking on the Party Animals in their sleeveless, black, splattered in spray paint, graffiti-themed jerseys. And the guy on the hill for the Bananas, who looked remarkably like Jameis Winston, hilariously, he would throw a pitch, and then the catcher would catch it, throw it back to the pitcher, and it would be like, pitch, back to the pitcher, pitch, back to the pitcher, pitch, back to the pitcher. It was that tempo. It was just throw a pitch, get the ball back, throw a pitch. There was no setting up, reading the signs, nodding yes and no, looking over at the base. It was just get the ball and throw another pitch. Whenever a fly ball would go out to the outfield, there is a rule. And I'm going to be honest with you, I still don't know what it is. But there's a rule where you get some sort of credit if you do a trick play catch. So I got outfielders that are doing backflips to catch fly balls. I got an outfielder at one point, and the ball comes down. He punches the ball out of the air with his glove, takes off his hat, and catches it in his hat. It was stuff you've never seen on a baseball field. And of course you wouldn't. That's not baseball. But it was baseball for her. To the fact that as I was flipping around between NBA playoff games, NHL playoff games, college baseball games, we had the Bananas on for like 5-6 minutes, 1 inning. And the wife, who likes baseball, but there were multiple baseball games on my TV at that point. That was the first time in a while that when I changed the channel, she went, "Can you put that back on?" And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "I don't know. I was entertained by it." That's it. It's real simple. I said the reason to my buddy in the local sports scene, I said the reason why is you guys are obligated to play the sport. And you have to build your entertainment around the sport. So if I come to one of your games as a fan of your sport, and I am keeping it nondescript, but if I come to one of your games as a fan of your sport, do you know what happens? I am entertained by the athletes on your roster playing your sport because I love your sport. But if I was to bring somebody to your game who is not a fan of your sport. They may be entertained by the cheerleaders. They may be entertained by the intermission games that you have fans play during breaks. They may be entertained by the video packages you roll. But what they're not necessarily like over the moon entertained by, they may be engaged, they may watch it, but what they're not losing their mind over is your game. The Bananas don't have to do that. This isn't something that can be replicated by a real sports team, right? This is a circus. You can't replicate what they do.
It's an event. It's something, but is this just because it's so rare that it's coming to your town, like when the circus comes to town?
And that was his thought. He said, is it set up and does it succeed because everybody wants to go and you have so few opportunities? And I said, I mean, yes, that's something to do with it, but it's not that it's hard to get a ticket. It's why it's hard to get a ticket. You know why it's hard to get a ticket? Let me give you another example. I've got a dear friend of mine that lives up in Charlotte. The drummer in my band lives up in Charlotte. He is not a sports fan at all. He does not care. He likes soccer, and that's really it. But he's not a sports guy. His wife is not a sports person at all. In fact, actively dislikes sports, right? But the Bananas put on a product that is not sports. It's sports adjacent. They play kind of baseball. It's sports adjacent. And she has texted me and been like, Rob Brown, do you have an inside to Banana tickets? I want to go see a game, right? My wife, when she was watching the Bananas game, to get her to come to a baseball game, a drive game, a Spartanburgers game, whatever, I have to plan it out. I got to go, hey, next Thursday, we're going to go to a game so she can base her schedule around it. She watched one inning of Banana Ball. She's like, hey, can we get tickets to go see them play in Charlotte? Are they playing anywhere else close that we can go see them? What they have done is created an environment where people who don't love their game feel like they can be entertained as well. It's not something that a local professional sports team can do. You can do all the goofy intermission fun in the middle games that you want, but you can't replicate it. They have created something where the entertainment value is not in hitting, catching, throwing, running. It's not in baseball. It's a circus. And I'm not saying this in a disparaging way, because I watched it too. And I got to tell you, I was pretty entertained. Was it goofy? Yeah. Was it silly? Yeah. Is it something I'd go out of my way for? Probably not. But she was entertained, and now she wants to go see them play. We have baseball 10 minutes from my house. We can go any night of the week. She's like, can we drive to Charlotte to watch a game? That's why they're successful. And they deserve credit for it. But I would never watch it and go, I love baseball. I'm watching that. No, I'm not. I'm watching a circus. And that's cool. All right, let's take a break. Back after this, the Rob Brown Show is on the Fan Upstate. I shouldn't have done that. I wonder what tickets to that game are. Morning, Mike. Welcome in, big dog. Good to have you, brother. As always.
I don't have access to a transfer drive, and I need Chris to do it, so that's the reason why I had to go get my laptop.
The Google Drive?
No, the transfer.
I want to be very clear. I was thoroughly entertained by the Bananas game. But I was entertained the way I'm entertained by, say, a Harlem Globetrotters game, right? The Globetrotters come here to the Well once a year. I will go every time they come to the Well. If I haven't seen them in a while and there is a Globetrotters game on TV, I may turn it on and watch it for a few minutes. But at the same time, I'm not going to watch it and say, oh, this is basketball, right? Like, I'm not going to watch it and go, I'm going to follow this team. I'm going to dedicate any length of time to this team. Is it something that seems like it'd be fun every now and then? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Without a doubt. The reason the Savannah Bananas have been successful is very simple. Texter said during the break, I've been watching the Bananas on YouTube with my kids. They love it. Right. It is a baseball adjacent product. And this is not disparaging, just so we're clear. I am not busting up the Bananas. I think they've put together a very interesting, compelling product that will entertain me once or twice a year when I come across it. It'll be a nice little break from regular baseball. I'm not going out of my way to follow this team. They're propping up a league, a 6-team league, a banana ball league. Do I think there's ever going to be a point where I'm going to be putting banana ball league scores into the sports flash for Lonzo to read? No. Do I ever think there's going to be a time where I come in here like I'm about to do with the NBA and NHL playoffs and give you updates on the banana ball league playoff race? No, probably not. Is there ever going to be a point that I come in here and go, my goodness, the left fielder from the Bananas or the Party Animals or the Firemen or the Texas Tailgaters, they're 2 RBIs away from setting a banana ball league RBI record. My gosh, we need to celebrate this. No, probably not.
Is this a detriment to the actual game, though? Because the people go there and they're very entertained, and then they go try to watch an actual MLB game and they're bored. Doesn't that hurt the MLB product?
No, I don't think it does. And the example that I used was, very dear friend of mine lives up in Charlotte. Drummer in my band lives up in Charlotte now. His wife, not just not a sports person, an anti-sports person, that actively dislikes sports, thinks it's a total waste of time and money. In that group of people who's like, we should take every dollar out of sports and put it towards, insert good of the country purpose and drive here. Sure, fine. Like that's your perspective, and that's great. She wants to go see a banana ball game. She texted me multiple weeks ago when they announced they were going to be playing games, when they did their draft of cities and stadiums, and they announced that they would be playing a game in both Clemson and in Charlotte at Bank of America. She texted me, and she's like, Rob Brown, this is out of the norm for me, but do you have any inside access to tickets? I want to go see the Banana Balls. I want to go see the Savannah Bananas. And I said, I don't. And one of the reasons I don't is the Bananas, and this is impressive, the Bananas treat everybody equally, right? Like there's no, if you want to sit down behind the plate, you got to be super rich. Nope, you just got to win the lottery. All the tickets are the same price. They're all the same price. If you want a ticket, you got to win the lottery. You're not special because you have more money than me, which is not true of any other sport. I was looking up tickets to go see the Braves-Dodgers on Sunday night. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll be tired Monday morning, but I'll go to Atlanta and watch the Braves-Dodgers game. I'll be home by like 1. I'll get a couple hours of sleep. But I want to see the Dodgers play, right? And do it against my Braves. Or maybe I'll go over Sunday night or a Saturday night and watch the Braves-Dodgers game. I looked up tickets. If you want to spend less than like $90 a ticket, you're sitting in the nosebleeds. The nosebleeds at Truist are like way the hell up there, right? Not at the Bananas. You want in? You got to win the lottery. That's kind of it. So when I turned on that game on whatever day it was, last weekend, Sunday or Saturday or whatever day it was. When I turned on that game, and again, the wife, who she likes baseball, but it's not like I'm going to go home and be like, hey, babe, there's a game in an hour downtown. You want to go to a baseball game? It's like sometimes she'll say yes, more often than not, no. But if I want to make a baseball game our date night for the week, I got to plan it out. Hey, it's my turn to pick a date night. We're going to a drive game. We're going to a Spartanburgers game. Hey, babe, I want to go over to Atlanta for a Braves game this weekend. Well, you better put that on the books a few weeks out so I can plan around it, right? She watched 5 minutes of a banana ball game, and she's like, "Can we go to Charlotte? Can we make this happen?" Do I think it is bad for the sport of baseball? No, I really don't. I really don't. In fact, quite the opposite. I actually think it's good for baseball. I think it's good for baseball because someone like my friend's wife up in Charlotte, who's not a sports person, but wants to go watch the Bananas play, that may be the end to change her mind on baseball. And if it doesn't, so what? Baseball didn't lose anybody, right? I don't think people can be lost. I don't think anybody who is willing to watch Major League Baseball, who makes even one baseball game a week a part of their schedule, is going to watch a banana ball game and go, oh, well, now regular baseball seems too boring. I think you watch it as a break. Just like I don't think the Harlem Globetrotters are bad for basketball. Quite the opposite. I think you're going to get people into the arena who would otherwise maybe have no interest in baseball. And they see that and they go, you know what? I'm going to try baseball. I'm going to try baseball again. And if baseball does a good job of making the sport accessible, if baseball does a good job, as they have done the last couple of years, of finding ways to make it not banana ball circus entertaining, but make it to where a game is at 3.5 hours. They've gotten the games down to, on average, about 2 hours and 32 minutes. So it's not a you got to spend a full day at a ballpark. Now it's you can go to a ballpark. You go over to the Battery in Atlanta where the Braves play around Truist Park. I now get my wife to say yes to a baseball game in Atlanta. Like, hey, babe, let's get your friend to come over and let the dog out. Let's go over to the ATL for a day game. And she'll say, yeah, why? Because we can go to the Battery. And there's bars and there's restaurants and there's shopping and there's music and there's entertainment. And then the game's only 2.5 hours. And then you're back at the Battery for another couple of, closeout drinks before you head back to the crib or whatever. They've built up an entire community of like apartments and hotels that you can rent around it right there at the park. Baseball went out of their way to make this compelling and to provide entertainment without impacting the game itself. So my buddy's wife from Charlotte, who watched a banana ball game, and she goes, you know what? That was actually kind of fun. And I don't feel like I wasted an entire day. I'd be willing to maybe try a Braves game. Well, what do I get to do with her and her husband now? The wife and I take her to Atlanta. And we go spend 2-3 hours at the Battery before the game. And she gets the music and the drinking and the dancing and the entertainment and yada, yada, yada. And then we go to a game. The game's only 2.5 hours. They do as much entertainment as you can get away with in a Major League Baseball game. And then when it's over, we go right back outside and we're right back into the drinking and the dancing and the music and the entertainment. This is her gateway drug. This is the door opened for someone like her, who in no other world would we say, hey, let's double date to a Braves game, and she says yes. It's baseball. I don't care. Now she's got an interest. She went out of her way, according to my buddy. She went out of her way to watch the banana ball game when it was on TV the other day because she heard so much about it. She went out of her way. Now she looks and maybe she goes, you know what? Maybe I'll give baseball a try. Maybe I've had this negative judgment of baseball and it's been invalid. And again, she may go and she goes, nope, I was right. This is boring as hell. I'm out. Or maybe she goes and with all the outside around baseball, she goes, actually, it's kind of fun. actually, this is enjoyable. I don't think it's bad for baseball. I think it is the door opening to get people who would otherwise not be interested in the sport to feel like they've been entertained. No, regular professional sports can't do this. I can't go to a Spartanburgers game and have their outfielder punching the ball up in the air and then doing a backflip to catch it on the way down. Why? Because that guy's trying to earn his way to the show. The guys on the roster for the Bananas, they're not trying to earn their way to Major League Baseball. This is what they do. They're entertainers. And they do a good job of it. So they can go out there and goof off and have fun. And if they drop a ball in the outfield, try to do a backflip and catch it, they're not getting sent down. They're not getting sent down to minor league ball and watching their paycheck take a nosedive, right? They are paid to do that. So I don't think it is replicable by anybody else. I don't think the local teams can adopt banana ball. Now, what I did tell my buddy is you can't replicate the game. And at the end of the day, the game is what gets those probably out of the 60 some odd thousand that went to Clemson to watch them play. The game is what got a huge chunk of them into the arena. But do you know what you can do? What you can do is take off the damn suit and tie. Stop showing up and talking about profits and revenue and expenses and income and ticket sales and all that. Stop talking about that like your fans give a damn. We don't. You know who's going through it right now? We've talked about this. WWE. We're Lonzo and I are wrestling guys. Everything comes back to wrestling. Ticket sales are down for WWE right now. They're not bad. They're still selling out arenas. WrestleMania had 60,000 people in a football stadium for 2 nights in a row. But ticket sales are down. That's why they called in Dwayne a few weeks ago, because ticket sales are down. And they're going out and they're sending out their big-time talking heads on radio shows, and they're like, well, we're reaching all-time revenue goals. All right. Do you understand how much I don't care about that? Do you understand how nothing burger that is for me? Do you understand that does nothing for me? You know what does it for me? 2 things. Number 1, am I entertained? And number 2, can I afford a ticket without feeling like I got to take out a damn loan to go get it? That's all we care about. And the Bananas addressed those 2 things. We're going to entertain you in-game, and we're not going to make you feel like you have to mortgage your home to be able to afford to come here. I'm looking at putting a Braves trip together for either Saturday night or Sunday with the boys. A couple of fellas want to go over and watch Braves Dodgers, right? And we're talking about buying tickets. You understand if I go to that game, I'm going to be out $400 to $500, right? When I include the gas to get there, the $40+ to park, the $70 for a ticket to sit in the middle of the stadium in the outfield, the food, the drinks, the whatever. I'm going to be out $400 to $500 to go to that game. And I have to accept that. I either have to say that's worth it for a full day of entertainment to watch Shohei Ohtani play, or I have to go, not just watch from home. I'm just going to watch from the crib. The Bananas go, hey, tickets are $25. I bought tickets to go see Monday Night Raw in a couple of weeks, May 19th, because it's worth it to me. And I'm very rich, so it's worth it to me. You know what I paid for an obstructed view ticket? Because me and the boys, we like to sit out of the way. We don't want to sit in the prime seats. We like to sit out of the way because we're going to go and we're going to knock back a bunch of beers and we're going to be loud and cheer for Joe Hendry and whatever. And we don't want to ruin anybody else's good time. So we sit out of the way. We sit equal to the side of the Titantron, right? We can't see what's on the Tron. We paid $89 per ticket to go to that. So if your whole family wanted to go, could you throw after fees through the second party market? Could you throw $110 a ticket to bring everybody in your family to that show?
No.
Yeah, I bought me a ticket. I ain't got 2 or 3 kids. Do you know what would fix that for them? Lower the ticket prices, but they're not gonna. The reality of all of this is the Bananas figured out, keep the ticket prices down, be entertaining. That's all you got to do. And this is what I told my buddy. Take off the suit and tie and stop worrying about your ticket revenue and start worrying about, if I was a fan sitting in this seat, how would I be entertained? Because that's all we care about. I will spend $89 a ticket if I feel like I am getting 3 or 4 or 5 hours of great entertainment. If I leave that event and go, gosh darn, that was fun, then that's worth it for me. But if I'm just going, I'm just going to watch a game, and that's it, That's the best selling point you got is a game and ain't worth it anymore. Stop thinking with your suit and tie, put on a pair of joggers and a t-shirt, and ask yourself, how can I make this more entertaining for a guy in section 121, row J, seat 3, not the guy who deposits the checks at the end of the night. It's not that hard to figure out. You know what else isn't hard to do? To sit back and listen to the dulcet tones of Lonzo's Sports Flash.
I'll see if I can make it through this without coughing. The New York Knicks are moving on to round 2 after a 116-113 win over the Pistons. Jalen Brunson dropped 50, and Mikal Bridges had 25, while Karl Anthony Towns grabbed 15 boards. New York had only 6 points off the bench, but it was enough. The Knicks faced Boston in round 2. Los Angeles Clippers have tied their series with Denver to force a Game 7 with a 111-105 win last night. James Harden had 28 and 8 assists. Kawhi Leonard had 27 and 10 boards, and Norman Powell had 24. The elimination game is tomorrow night. Toronto Maple Leafs eliminated the Ottawa Senators with a 4-2 win in Game 6 last night. William Nylander scored twice in Toronto for Toronto. Las Vegas bounced Minnesota from the playoffs with a 3-2 win. The Colorado Avalanche forced a Game 7 with a 7-4 win over Dallas, and the Oilers finished the Kings with a 6-4 win in Game 6. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show coming up.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday night at Piedmont Natural Gas downtown Alive. Presented by Spectrum. Join us for a free admission outdoor street party featuring live music in Noma Square. Returning this year, Arts After Dark, happening and showcasing local upstate artists in partnership with Metropolitan Arts Council. Piedmont Natural Gas downtown Alive at Noma Square. Thursday evenings, March 13th through August 29th. Visit GvilleEvents.com for more info. That's GvilleEvents.com.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings. Because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I look lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which means right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your nature-made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for you, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's Bad MGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan.
Upstate.
Bad MGM Tonight is the friend zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports entertainment tonight at 7. Bad MGM Tonight, exclusively on the Fan.
Upstate.
And on the Odyssey app. The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CV Spartanburg. The Fan.
Upstate.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey, check this out.
You're an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents Cleveland Browns. Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
This
is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
The Friday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show rolls on. Our numero dos underway, ladies and gentlemen. It is Rob Brown. It is the great one, Lonzo. And it is, the foremost electrifying hours in sports, talk, entertainment that you will find anywhere on the radio from 6 until 10 a.m. on weekday mornings. Great to have you. As we roll through the show, we got a lot we got to get into on the radio program today. NBA, NHL playoffs rolling on. Major League Baseball, got to talk Braves, Dodgers as a 3-game set betwixt those two teams begins this evening in earnest over at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to get into that here in just a few minutes from right now and more. But it is 7:01 in the AM portion of the day, which means you have less than an hour until you got to get to the office, before you got to get locked in, before you got to respond back to those emails that you, let's be honest, don't really care about at all. And before you have got to start handling your business. And then after about 12 minutes of wasting your time doing that, then it's going to be time to talk sports, to walk down the hallway, to go find that one coworker that you actually enjoy spending time with, and to talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports, you got to know what's going on in sports. And if you got to know what's going on in sports, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworker saying, "What kind of place is this?" Bathroom break. Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this AM. When you do, this is what you will be talking about. Let's jump in with item number 1. NBA playoffs continue last night. One series comes to its conclusion. One is pushed to a Game 7. The New York Knicks knock off the Detroit Pistons last night. 116-113 your final. Jalen Brunson did it again. A 40-burger last night on 15 of 33 from the floor. Just 3 of 10 from behind the arc, knocked down 7 of 8 free throw attempts, also had 7 dimes in a winning effort. 25 for Mikal Bridges, who was 11 of 16 from the floor, and 22 from OG Anunoby. You also got 10 boards out of Josh Hart, who had 13, 15 out of Cat. Karl Anthony Towns was, it was kind of one of those spots. This is the mentality I want out of the big man. I used to tell kids when I was coaching basketball, if your shot isn't dropping, you either find a different way to help out the team, or I will get you off the floor. But if you're not adding to the plus minus, there's no reason for you to be out there. Karl Anthony Towns said, all right, shots not dropping, 4 of 10 from the floor, 0 of 1 from downtown. Couldn't get a bucket couldn't get a foul call to save his life. Went to the stripe just 3 times. He went and got 15 boards in this competition. If you can add 15 boards to the total, you're going to at least give your team a chance. Cade Cunningham had 23 for the Nuggets, for the Pistons, but was just 9 of 22 from the floor, 21 from Jalen Duren, 6 of 9 from the floor. The Pistons shot 47%, but the Knicks shot 48 and shot 33 and a third from range, 10 of 30 when it was all said and done. 16 turnovers for New York in this one, as the Knicks will be moving on to round 2. We'll talk about that game in a little bit more depth later on in the show. 111-105, the Clippers knock off the Nuggets last night to force a decisive Game 7. They got 28 out of James Harden and 27 out of Kawhi Leonard. The Clips shot 50% from the floor, over 30%, 12 of 39 from behind the arc. But the biggest number of all to me, just 7 turnovers in this game for Los Angeles. They did not as I thought they might. They did not get over aggressive. They did not try to start playing a physical game with the Nuggets. They said, you know what? Sure, Jalen's going to get his. And Jamal's going to get his. And Jamal Murray had 21 last night. Nikola Jokic had 25. But it became very obvious that Jokic, who played good basketball, was not the daily triple-double that we are used to. He had 25, but he only had 7 boards and he only had 8 assists. It became evident about halfway through the second period last night that you were getting good Jokic, but you were not getting great Jokic. So the Clippers slowed the game down. The Clippers took over the pace of the game, did not let Denver take it back, and they are able to push on to a decisive game number 7 in the NBA, which gives us our playoff schedule setting up this way. We have one game tonight. It is game 6 between the Rockets and Golden State. That is a 9 p.m. tip-off. Golden State favored by 5.5 in this one. Then we have a game 7 on Saturday between Denver and LA. Winner will move on. Clippers favored by 1.5 on the road at Denver. And then that is game 6. Then if necessary, a game 7 between Golden State and Houston on Sunday. We will also see the semifinals of both conferences open up on Sunday. One semifinal game between Indiana and Cleveland Sunday. Time to be announced later. Cleveland opens as a 7.5 point favorite at the crib, but a very high over-under number of 229.5. Knicks Celtics will start on Monday, and that's your NBA playoff update. Let's go to item number 2. 4 games last night across the National Hockey League in the chase for Lord Stanley's Cup. The Toronto Maple Leafs have eliminated the Ottawa Senators last night. They win the series 4-2 by way of a 4-2 scoreline yesterday evening. For Toronto, you had 3 different players scored goals. William Nylander netted a couple. Anthony Stolar stopped 21 of 23 shots on goal by Ottawa. The Las Vegas Golden Knights find themselves moving on. They win their series over the Minnesota Wild 4-2 by way of a 3-2 win last night. The Golden Knights had all 4 goals scored by different goal scorers. Aiden Hill faced 31 shots on goal from Minnesota. Many of those were just desperation slaps late in the contest, but 31 shots faced last night. Stopped 29 of them, had 4 saves against the power play last night for Vegas. They move on. Not moving on are the Dallas Stars. They get dropped by Colorado last night, 7-4 in an explosive offensive outing for Colorado last night. The Avalanche had one multi-scorer last night. It was Valery Nichushkin. He had a pair of goals. All of the rest came from individual goal scorers. They put 46 shots on Jake Ottinger. No defensive presence from Dallas last night. Avalanche force a decisive Game 7. No Game 7 between the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton wins the series 4-2 with a 6-4 scoreline last night. All 6 goals for Edmonton came from different goal scorers. Calvin Pickard stopped 23 of the 27 shots that he faced last night. So the Oilers are moving on to round 2 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's head to item number 3. It's a Braves story. Now, the good news is we are not reporting a loss. The Braves won 2 out of the 3 against the Colorado Rockies. They won 2 out of the 3 at the Arizona Diamondbacks. They won 2 out of the 3 at home against St. Louis. They swept all 3 against the Twins. In fact, you have to go back to the middle of April to find the last time that the Atlanta Braves did not win a series, when they dropped 2 out of the 3 on the road at Toronto, facing the 5-1-2 pitchers of the Blue Jays. Now, the offense, with the exception of that last game, did pick up a little bit. In fact, in games 1 and 2 against the Colorado Rockies, the Braves netted 14 hits. Now, they had only 4 in a 2-1 loss to end that series, handing Colorado only their 5th win on the year. So things, unfortunately, although it is for just one game, did slow down for Atlanta in the finale on the road at Colorado. You hope that was just a one-game fall-off. You hope that that is not a sign that the Atlanta Braves offense is about to tank again. Why? Because the LA Dodgers are coming to town. And not only are the LA Dodgers coming to town, but the Dodgers are coming to town with their 1, 2, 3 pitchers lined up. Grant Holmes gets the call to the bump tonight for Atlanta. He will be up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, number 1. Tomorrow, Spencer Schwellenbach on the bump for the Atlanta Braves up against Roki Sasaki. And then on Sunday, a little Sunday night baseball, a 7 p.m. first pitch when Bryce Elder goes to the bump against Dustin May. What is this series for the Atlanta Braves? It is at home. It is against an LA Dodgers team that worked you the last time that these two teams met up. Remember, the Braves have already gotten one crack at the LA Dodgers. They got swept 3-0 on the road the last time that they squared off with these Dodgers. This series is a series in which the Atlanta Braves get to prove that either A, that was a bad slump to start the season, or they get to prove that B, they're bad. I mean, that's it. It's hard to say they're bad when they've won, 10 of their last 12? When you got to go back to April 16th to find the last time that the Braves did not win a series, you'd like to look at that and say, yeah, perhaps reports of the Atlanta Braves' demise were slightly exaggerated. But this is their chance to prove that. If this team takes 1 out of 3, then I think we're going to look at this and say, all right, how did they take 1 out of the 3? Because the Dodgers are a very good baseball team. If you just get beat because the Dodgers are a very good baseball team, that is one thing. Or did you get crushed in the other games? Did you steal one and get shellacked in the other games? This is one that I think we will have to wait until Monday morning before we issue an opinion on what happened. The optimistic view would be that we come in here on Monday and we go, goodness gracious, would you look at the Braves? Maybe they're a decent ball club who just had a rough go out of the gate. If they get smoked, if they drop all 3, if they come out of this with a 9 total hit weekend, then I think we're going to go right back to, I don't know, pessimism, I guess is the correct word here. This is a massive, massive series for the Atlanta Braves. In fact, I would say it's not a must-win. It is not a must-win series. It is a must-compete series, right? It is a must-be-in-the-game series. I don't think you can get swept. If you get swept by LA, then I think at that point you look and you go, yeah, the Braves did win multiple series in a row. And one of them was against a good Arizona club, an Arizona club that some people, including my colleague Cody Decker, believe are a playoff squad. But you won against a sub-500 St. Louis team. You won against a way sub-500 Minnesota team. It is good to win series. What we are not going to do is sit here and pretend like the series that the Braves won to kind of start this little resurgence tour that they are trying to convince us that they are on was in any way, shape, or form a dominant performance out of this club. Yeah, you want to win them. Yeah, it felt nice. If you do not go out and compete, I'm not saying beat, I'm not saying win the series, just look like a competitive club against the Dodgers, then in my opinion, everything you did will have been for naught. Everything you did will be for what? To show what? I got nothing. This series is massive. I just need guys getting on the bags. Just make it competitive is all that I'm asking. Show that there is some sign of life in there. And then we can talk about what's next. All right, that's your water cooler cheat sheet. When we come back here in just a minute, let's take a look at the NBA games from last night. Let's take a look at the NBA series as we head into the weekend, because by the time we return on Monday, we will be on to round number 2. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Stepping away for just a minute, guys. Y'all stay right there. BRB. The Detroit Pistons, I think, are a team that is pointed in a very positive direction. They have a good, likable head coach. Cade Cunningham has developed into an absolute star this season. I saw him play in person back on St. Patrick's Day down in New Orleans. I went to a Pelicans game because I'm a masochist and hate myself as a person. I bought a ticket to go watch that basketball team play. And in the process, getting to see Cade Cunningham up close and personal for the first time. This kid is going to be around for a very long time. Plays a very, very impressive game of basketball. There's very little the kid can't do. Can go both directions. Has just a slam dunk of a pull up jumper. Like where Detroit is heading a lot. That being said, as much as I thought that the New York Knicks were going to be competitors in the East, I think they might win one game against the Boston Celtics. I could think they might win one game against Boston. There's some positives about this team. Karl Anthony Towns, including last night's game. The shot wasn't going down for Big Cat, so he just became a rebounding machine. And look, I used to coach basketball, and I used to tell the kids that I coached all the time, if your shot's not falling, find another way to help the team. Lock down your player on defense, grab me rebounds, give me some assists. You got to do something that helps us be in the plus-minus category when you were on the floor. Last night, Cat did just that. Shot wasn't really falling. He could not get a foul call to save his life, so he became a rebounding machine. Grabbed 15 boards for the Knicks. I think when I look at this Knicks team, though, what I am seeing out of this Knicks team is a squad that is pretty good at a lot, with the exception of the occasional pop-off from Jalen Brunson. Not really great at anything. Cat is a good interior player. He's not a great one. The Knicks are a good three-point shooting team. They are not a great one. There is only one thing that is great, and that is Jalen Brunson occasionally. But Brunson got dinged up again last night. Jalen Brunson has gotten hurt in like 3 of the 6 games that they played in this series. And every time that a ankle gets rolled or a dead leg to the thigh happens, like you could be the toughest son of a you-know-what on planet Earth. Those things accumulate. And in basketball, which relies on a lot of being able to cut, accelerate, decelerate, plant, stop, whatever. In basketball, which requires a ton of body control, if you have multiple injuries to your extremities, you're gonna start to feel that, man. Like there's gonna get to a point where you feel that. There's gonna come a point where it is going to slow you down, or worse, you're going to start to compensate consciously or subconsciously. And I do get to a point where I worry, does Jalen Brunson run out of gas? Because what the Boston Celtics have done is create a team where, yes, Jason Tatum is our guy. But if Tatum is having an off night for whatever reason, you've drawn up a defensive strategy exclusively to stop him. He's dinged up. He's banged up. He's not anywhere close to 100%, whatever. They built up an offense where Tatum can go, okay, I don't have to be the guy tonight. I'm going to let Jaylen Brown be the guy tonight. And if Jaylen Brown is off for any reason, they built a team that goes, as they did in the NBA Finals last year. Okay, Brown can't do it. Derek White can do it. We'll just lean on him. And the whole offense revolves around to support the guy whose night it is. This is why I really like this Boston team, not just to win back-to-back NBA championships, but I honestly think we may be witnessing the birth of the next NBA dynasty. Because I think that this team has the possibility to stay together for a long time. Because listen, there's 0 professional athletes that aren't doing it because it pays very well, obviously. But Boston has got to be the most bought into a team mentality team I've seen in the NBA in a very long time. Since the Popovich Spurs at their prime, right? In the Duncan Ginobili days. So what I like, what that translates to for the Boston Celtics is every player on that floor, every single night that they play, comes into a game where they realize it's somebody's night. Somebody's going to be on tonight. Somebody's going to have it. And if it's Tatum, if it's our stud, great. We tailor the offense for him. And if it's not him, we'll try out Jaylen Brown. And if it's Jaylen Brown, great. We'll tailor the offense to him. If it's not him, great. We'll go to Derek White. And if it's not Derek White, that's okay. If it is, we'll tailor the offense to him. If it's not, we'll see if Porzingis is going to have a night. At some point, the law of averages says somebody is going to be on that night. Somebody is going to be having a career game that night. You just got to find them and tailor the offense to them. If it is Porzingis, what happens? Tatum and White and Brown start playing a little closer to the three-point line. They're not starting as far off the line to earn themselves shooting space anymore. Now they're playing a little bit closer to the line so that the ball can go in and out of the paint a little easier. If it is Jaylen Brown needs a little more help off the ball in order to create space. So what do you start to see? If it is a Jaylen Brown night, as it regularly is, you see the Celtics offense start to be much more active off ball. You start to see guys setting a lot more screens. You start to see guys moving around the perimeter more, trying to create and open up passing lanes. Why? They want to move the ball around. They want to create the mismatch for Jaylen Brown, and they want to get him the ball in space. If it is Jason Tatum, everybody moves into a more reserve role. Guys are not moving around as much off the ball, so much as they are hitting their spots to pull defenses out of shape and open up lanes for Jason Tatum to drive and be Jason Tatum. If it is Derek White, not none, but not a ton of ability to create on his own. So you've got to create for Derek White. So what do you start to see? You start to see an offense that becomes very active off the ball. You start to see an offense that is less about, with Jaylen Brown, I need to get him into one-on-one scenarios, right? With Jason Tatum, I need to open up drive lanes. With Jaylen Brown, I need to get him into favorable one-on-one matchups. With Derek White, I need to get him the opportunity to catch and shoot. I need him coming off of picks and rolls. I need him coming off of screens. I need him coming off of movement, ready to catch and shoot. And they can run any of these offenses effectively once they figure out who the guy is. I don't think the Knicks have that luxury. I don't think the Knicks really have that luxury. I think if it's not a night where Jalen Brunson is on, I think they start to struggle away from that. Jalen Brunson was on last night. He dropped a 40 burger. He had 40 in what was it, game 3 as well. It is the games that Brunson is struggling a little bit that they find themselves in trouble. They lost 106-103 the other night. That was the game that Brunson checked out of a little bit earlier. He only ended up with 36 minutes and 16 points. They lose that game. Why? Because without Jalen Brunson both leading the offense and directing it, there wasn't really anybody else on the floor who could fill into that role. They found themselves in a spot where they didn't have the next guy up that they could trust to run the offense and to execute the offense. They don't have that guy. It's not Karl Anthony Towns. He can get you 17. He can get you maybe 20 on a good night, but he's not able to generate for other guys. He had 1 assist. His highest scoring game in this series, he also had 1 assist. 11 boards, which, is a massive asset. But when I put Kristaps Porzingis on the other side of the glass from Karl Anthony Towns, is he going to be the guy in that spot that I can go, yeah, there's a dozen boards. There's 15 boards in that guy. Probably not. There's not really that guy for the Detroit Pistons that's able to stack the middle like Kristaps Porzingis is. Jalen Duren was good. He had 14 boards in the last one, but he wasn't able to really keep Cat on his back. Porzingis can. That's kind of his thing. So this series in the East for me, I want it to be good. I want it to be exciting. It is one of those things where we're looking and going, all right, we got a chance, Knicks, Celtics, to bring back a classic NBA rivalry. We got an opportunity here to reestablish this because both of these teams could be good for a very long time. But I think the Knicks have got to find somebody else. And that's not to say that next guy's not on the roster. We saw a couple of years in Toronto. We talk about the Fred VanVleet championship, but OG Anunoby was on that team. OG Anunoby, when he got traded to New York, it obviously wasn't a shock on the level of Luka Doncic, but it was absolutely a piece that I remember coming in here the next day and going, so Toronto's done. Toronto's giving up. They're moving on. Cat's a good player. Is he an elite offensive player? No, he's not. He's not an elite big man offensively. Overall, great big man. Overall, one of my favorite players to watch play because he does play a very physical style of basketball. Not like brute, not like relentless, not like he's in there throwing hands or whatever, but he's going to put a body on a body and try to take advantage of a situation. But he's not an offensively elite interior player. Not that Kristaps Porzingis is, but they're pretty much leveled out, right? Like with the game that he has, I don't think Cat provides a clear advantage in the middle over Porzingis when and obviously this is based on Porzingis being healthy and not bleeding like Dusty Rhodes in 1989, but there's not a clear advantage. So the question mark is going to be for the Knicks. Is Mikal Bridges going to step up and be a guy? He was last night. Is OG Anunoby going to go back to being the role player that he was behind Fred VanVleet years ago? Where are they going to get that piece if Jalen Brunson isn't putting up 40 burgers? Because somebody for Boston is. Consistently, somebody from Boston is. If you look at regular season Boston and you think that's the team that you're going to get in round 2 of the NBA playoffs, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm leaning on the Celtics to win this series and win it going away. Probably going to log a bet on them to win it in 5. And that'll be plus money odds. That'll probably be like if I had to guess, that'll probably be like a 2-to-1 bet, 2.5-to-1 bet. But I just don't see if Brunson is equaled by anybody. I don't see who it is for the Knicks that's going to step up and equal somebody else from Beantown, because that might be the most versatile team in the NBA playoffs. All right, we got more games to look at. Clippers, Nuggets, the most compelling series in the NBA playoffs. We'll break into that. But when we come back, the NCAA made a decision earlier this week involving sports gambling that I found pretty interesting, and I think you might as well. We'll talk about that next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan of State. Rob, Lonzo, you. The NCAA has made an interesting decision. The NCAA announced earlier this week that for the first time, starting this year, they will authorize licensed sports books to use their marks and logos, and they will provide official data from college sporting events, including the men's and women's basketball tournaments, through an expanded partnership with a technology firm called Genius Sports. So if you are a sports wagerer, you will have increased access starting, I believe, in the fall, increased access to college gambling. Now, the reality here is that you already did. This isn't really going to change a whole lot because what you had in the past was the books using whatever stat keeping service they were using for the wagering. But now the NCAA will directly provide the information. And on top of that, when you went to a book till now, when you went to bet on a college event, you would see Clemson football, and there would just be a little NCAA logo or just like a little blank football helmet colored orange or something. Now, the NCAA will allow those schools. And I do not know if this is school to school. I do not know if this is the NCAA is going to say, yes, you can use Clemson's logo, South Carolina's logo. All I know is that the only place this will not be impacted is the college football playoffs, as the college football playoffs are obviously run by the College Football Playoff Committee, a different organization. So if they decide to add it, they will do so on their own. I saw a lot of people on social media kind of flipping out about this, like, oh, we're introducing gambling to college sports. It's already there. This is not the game-changing, landscape-shaping decision that you think that it is. In fact, if anything, I'm happy the NCAA made the decision. And I'm happy they made the decision because in this expanded partnership, the NCAA is going to receive more money, licensing fees, etc., for these books to be able to slap the NCAA's logos up onto their books when people want to make a wager on college sports. And the NCAA made a secondary announcement, or I guess I should say added some information into the announcement that they made earlier this week. What they have decided to do is to utilize the expanded income that they will get from this decision in order to fund two things. Number one, programs to educate their athletes and the general public on the harms of negative behavior within the sports gambling world. That is to say, the bad things that can happen if you do bad things. If you're an athlete and you throw a game, if you're a coach and you throw a game, if you are an athlete or a coach and you get involved in gambling on your team, et cetera, they're going to increase the educational programs connected to this. And number two, they are going to lean farther into campaigns that speak out against harassing athletes, coaches, officials, etc., from those of us that wager on games. They are going to reach out and try to effectively stop the losers. And I am someone who enjoys the sports wagertainment. I am someone who enjoys putting a little bit of change. Now, as I've said on the Bet MGM network 1,000 times, I'm a beer money gambler. All right. I'm not throwing hundreds of dollars down per bet. I'm throwing like maybe tens of dollars down.
Isn't that beer money though? $100.
No, I don't know. I don't know what kind of beer your friends are drinking.
I don't have any friends, but if I heard things are ballpark drinks are pretty expensive. So.
I mean, they are, but I'm not saying I've never put down $100 bar tab. I'm just saying it's rare, and if I do, it's because I'm paying for me and the wife, and we went ham. All right? I'm talking go to the Publix and grab yourself, like, on a good night, maybe I'm getting myself like a $17, $18 six-pack to really, truly enjoy. Otherwise, give me that $11 suitcase of Busch Light, and I'm good. I'm a beer money better. There are people out there who are throwing thousands of dollars around on sports wagertainment. That ain't me. But what I do know is, and I have called this out on my show, if an athlete does not hit his number and it costs you your parlay, or if an athlete gives up a home run or, allows their primary player to get his point total and it kills your under bet or whatever, that's on you.
Well, at least you're okay. It was bound to happen eventually.
What in the hell?
Rob has broken his chair.
Bro, the whole seat of my chair just collapsed.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why no one sits in those but you. I mean, you're the only one.
What in the hell?
And you're going to do your best to try to fix it so you could stay in that chair.
Fix it. Like, it broke. I almost died, you guys. I guess I'll sit in this other chair. Well, this chair is very high in the air. I
gotta say that was a pretty good reaction on your part.
Buddy.
Someone else may have fallen, but you were able to.
I still got that dog in me.
There was a look of panic in your eyes, but still.
Yeah, you know what?
There should have been.
You know why?
You could have been impaled.
Because I panicked. That's why. For those of you not watching the stream, and for those of you that were, I hope you enjoyed. You almost watched my doom there on the show. The entire seat of my chair just fell out from under me. Like, just I was sitting on the front edge of the chair, and the entire seat of the chair just went and went like 90-degree angle down. It is a good thing that I am a top-notch elite level athlete, because a lesser man would have taken an absolute header onto what is effectively a concrete floor. I, being the absolute pinnacle of athleticism that I am, was able to catch a solid base, set the center of gravity, lower myself, explode through the quads, and catch myself from dying live on the air.
Yeah, it was nearly a Final Destination kind of moment. That was not, it was.
I'm not going to lie. That scared the out of me. All right? Now, again.
You don't need to change your underwear or anything, do you? I mean,
I'm glad. I don't know. I leaned forward on the chair. The seat of the chair fell out. And the ass of the chair broke, and my ass almost hit the ground. That was, what's the word I'm looking for here? Terrifying, I think is the word I'm looking for here. Terrifying. I thought that was the end of the day, the week, the month, the year, and possibly forever for me on the way down. But again, the old school boxing training kicked in there, man. Just the feet got wide, push into the back foot, set your base, drop the center of gravity, and hold yourself up. Reaction time, impeccable. Body control, legendary. It is a good thing. If that would have been anybody else, y'all would have watched a man take a low-level concussion right there, but not me. Elite athleticism.
I just have to say, it's awesome to bear witness such a thing. And I wonder if heavier you would have been able to do that.
Oh, 270, Rob, I'd have been sitting in the boss's office if that would have happened to me about 60 pounds ago. That was real close to real bad. I know most of you are listening on the radio and did not get to see what just happened. Just know my chair collapsed and for the record, guy who already put the fat joke on the text thread. All right.
What do you expect? I mean, people are quick. And here's the thing, though. You've been living on borrowed time with that chair. There's a reason why the rest of us abandoned those chairs a long time ago. And I think that's like one of the last functioning ones of its era.
To the guy who already has a fat joke on the text line, I am 216. All right. If you'd have hit me with that joke a year ago when I was plus 270, that would have been fine. I would have said, oh, yeah, I should probably hit the gym. I'm at 216. I'm in the best shape I've been in since high school. I did not cause that because I am gravitationally challenged.
All right. So I think you should stop with that because we have things that counter that, like just suddenly falling down and breaking your teeth, the rail slide. I mean, these are documented incidents.
Correct. Okay, hang on.
Okay.
None of those things happen because I was fat. Those things happen because I had a moment, all right? I can't do anything about a vasovagal incident that causes my brain to turn off. There's nothing you can do about that, all right? Sometimes athletes get the yips, all right? When I fell off the railing and gave myself a concussion and KO'd myself, it was very windy that afternoon, and I was outside. It was very windy. Large gust of wind.
There's a microburst right at that exact moment.
Large gust of wind came blowing by. It blew me off the railing. I am like 10,000 for 10,001 on super sick rail slides, dude.
You were, but you retired. So
I am now.
Yeah. Okay.
I am now. That didn't happen because I'm fat or I'm clumsy. That happened because somebody made a bad chair and I just learned my lesson in it.
Well, it's not one bad chair. It was all those chairs were not designed for radio people.
I'm not fat anymore.
That's not no, listen, you are not. That's what I'm saying. They're not very good design chairs. They're not designed for the rigors of a radio host who can't be still.
I was shifting forward in the chair.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've all seen you, at least most of the people have seen you on stream. There's never a still moment on the frame. So, I mean, I'm just glad you're all right. I am. I'm not making fun of you about that. Everybody else is. I'm just really glad you're okay.
Yeah, so am I. Because I got to tell you, I was terrified. I was about to have a broken ass bone moment there for just a second. I've had one of those. I've had a broken coccyx before, and I can tell you, it sucks for a long time. There's no rub some dirt on it and walk it off, champ. It sucks for a while.
Yeah, poor choice of wording there. I would have first pleaded, is there a doctor in the audience? And then I probably would have called 911.
But you don't have to, because Rob Brown, pinnacle of athleticism.
Yeah, he's going to find out he tweaked something he didn't know. Tomorrow he's going to be in traction.
No, I got it. I still got that dog in me, baby.
Well, I think I'm hoping we talked you down and calmed you down, and now you're good.
If eating out of a fallen chair was an Olympic event, I just won the gold medal.
But you're going to be in a bad mood because you can't sit in the chair that you like the most for the rest of the show.
That was my favorite chair.
Yeah, again, there's a reason no one sits in that chair. Everyone pushes it aside because it looks dangerous.
I have a real comfy chair at the house that is my go-to, and I look forward to sitting in that chair. And now not only do I not get to, I am personally, after this show, taking that chair to the dumpster out back and eliminating it with ruthless aggression for the transgression that it just committed live on the air.
Yeah, I don't want to kill kayfabe here, but I don't think you can do that. I don't think you're allowed to, because it's throwing away company property. Even though it's malfunctioned, I think that you have to go to a higher authority before you can throw it away.
Find me, dog. Find me. Suspend me. I will eat that L with hate and malice in my heart, throw that chair into the dumpster. It almost killed me live on the air. If it was a lesser man than me, that would have been a fatality.
No, if it was a lesser man than you, probably the chair would have stayed.
Okay, you don't have to be a jerk.
Yeah, but I'm one to talk, but you left me open there.
Don't worry, everybody.
Big old fat softball. That's what that was.
Don't worry, everybody. I didn't die on the air like I thought I was going to. I saved it because I'm a stud. Wrestling is Awesome says you probably need to disassemble the chair first because throwing it out will throw out your back. You people are rude. You people are rude. That is unnecessary.
So it's a great distance to go to get that to the dumpster, by the way.
He said God had another plan for you. He sent his angels to bear thee up, and it only took 3 angels. You jerk. You jerk. I am 216 pounds. That is below the average American's weight for my height. I'm 6'3". All right?
I don't know if I think it's probably like 205 for.
There's no way the average 6'3" guy is 205. Not to bring it up, but if the average 6'3" guy is 205, Donald Trump's definitely 220. Stop it. Stop it. America, let's just own what we are. All right? I own what I am. It is what it is. I'm okay with it.
So according to the internet, you're supposed to be...
Not what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
What is the average weight? I'm supposed to be like 190.
For a man who's 6'3", a healthy weight range is generally considered to be between 152 and 192.
I was 152 in 5th grade.
Yeah, at 6'3", how skinny is
chance.
that?
That's garbage.
This is based on the body mass index, which we all know is
from the 20s.
Yeah, which is considered a normal weight range. Normal by who? Overweight is typically considered to be between 200 and 232 pounds.
Okay, all right.
According to the National Institute of Health, the NIH. You can't fight the NIH, man.
I think y'all might need to reevaluate.
And by the way, I'm morbidly obese, but I already knew that. So I mean,
I think the NIH needs to reevaluate that because I was 220 in high school, as in every sport athlete with a 6-pack. I was 220.
By the way, most athletes are considered overweight according to the
150. I was 150 in 6th grade.
You weren't 6'3" either, I'm guessing.
No, I was not 6'3", and yet was still 150. What are we talking about here? Texas said going to take 7 guys to get you over the rope in the Rumble. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. Raw athleticism over here. That's how I saved myself from being taken out by a chair.
Plus, he wore a shirt that had heel on it. He knows how to work the Rumble.
All right, I'm going to go to the other room.
Sure.
I'm going to go get my heart rate back down to normal. I'm going to go take the cortisone levels down 9 or 12 while all of you sit here and enjoy, I hope, stress-free Lonzo Sports Flash.
Man, my whole day is a struggle. Not like that. So.
Oh, yours is?
No, I'm sick.
Everything's great over here.
Okay. The New York Knicks are moving on to round 2 after a 116-113 win over the Pistons. Jalen Brunson dropped 50 and Mikal Bridges had 25, while Karl Anthony Towns grabbed 15 boards. New York had only 6 points off the bench, but it was enough. The Knicks faced Boston in round 2. The Los Angeles Clippers have tied their series with Denver to force a Game 7 with a 111-105 win last night. James Harden had 28 and 8 assists. Kawhi Leonard had 27 points and 10 boards, and Norman Powell added 24. The elimination game is tomorrow night. The LA Angels will send Mike Trout to the IL with a bone bruise in his left knee. The team said there's no structural damage to Trout, who exited a Wednesday night loss to Seattle after the injury. Apparently bruises and you can't play baseball, I guess. I mean, the chair is still on the video. It's definitely wrecked. Look at it.
We have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh
I know how it feels. The first year I worked here, like 25 years ago,
Just fell out of this chair because the foot thing is lower.
there was a chair, and it wasn't a rolly chair. It was a stationary chair, and it's a very confined space where Word was in in the old building. I went to lean back because I had to do an EAS test, and the welds broke on the chair, and I fell down, and it bruised my ribs. They had to send me to the emergency room. So I know how it feels. At least you were not injured. You didn't tweak a hammy.
Not,
You didn't.
not that I'm aware of
you
yet,
didn't-
but the shock level's still high.
That's true. That's true. Once the adrenaline wears off, I don't think you turned an ankle or anything.
Holy crap.
If you had fallen, I'd have went and got the paddles. I think we still have them. Whether you needed them or not, as you lay there writhing, I would have been yelling, "Clear!"
That was rough, dude. That was rough. I thought I was cooked.
I would have probably had to go get Cato because he's the only one who actually took the training for the paddles. We did have those. We legitimately had those here, and I don't know if we still do.
defibs?
Yeah, I don't know if we still do. Like, I don't want to take the training. If someone just is dying, I don't know what I'd do. Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about? Okay, what's your name? Okay, hang on.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, dudes and dudettes. It is the Friday, gotta get down on Friday edition of the radio show. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo on the ones and twos this AM. The Hub City Spartanburger text line's open for you, 844-326-3663, 844-FAN-FONE. If you want to jump on the radio broadcast, you can do so right now. You can also text that number or drop me a line, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. If you got something that's a little longer, but you do not want to get on the air, that's all right. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com is there for you as well. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet everybody up in the building at The Fan Upstate. If you're on X, all my social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, are all at The Rob Brown Show. If you haven't tossed us a follow yet, please do so. We'd love to have you as part of our online community. We'd also love to have you on the air as part of our on-air community, like Spike, who was kind enough to call in during the break, joins us live on the show. Spike, what up, big dog? Welcome to the show.
I was moved terribly by what I just heard. So, when you are with me, I'm free. I'm careless, I believe. Above all the others, will fly. It brings tears to my eyes. Rob sacrifice. Thank you.
Spike.
It was either that or One Shining Moment.
It was not my, you know what? It was my shining moment because, as said, Spike, a lesser man would have been writhing on the floor in pain, but not me. I found a way through it. I rose to the occasion. I tapped the play like a champion sign today. I found my base. I found my footing. I dropped the center of gravity, and I rose like a phoenix through the ashes to come out better on the other side. Spike, thank you for your recognition of that fact.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Good man. Appreciate you, Spike. Thanks very much for checking in. Thank you for serenading me there and lifting my spirits.
It has the opposite effect, though. You're trying to come down from the excitement of it, and then someone calls in and sings Creed for you. That takes you up another level.
He called in to sing Creed because he recognized that a moment of that magnitude, a moment of that greatness, a performance of that caliber deserved nothing less than prime Scott Stapp. That's the level of recognition that Spike had there, and I need you to know I appreciated it immensely. Spike gets it. He understands that all of you just got shown what top-notch athleticism truly looks like. Hey, Xavier Leggett gave us some more sound. I'm not a Kentucky Derby guy. I think have I ever said that on the show? I think I've said that on the show.
It sounds vaguely familiar, possibly, maybe.
Yeah, I cannot stand the Kentucky Derby. Now, I love a Kentucky Derby party. I like any party, any good party. I will come to your child's birthday party if you tell me there's an outdoor cooler stocked with brewskis. All right, I love a party. However, the event around which we base this party is dumb. It's dumb. All right, it's dumb. Like, I can't get in to the horse racing. It's just not for me. And then when you add into the fact that all of these horses are owned by a bunch of pretentious rich people who pay $300,000 for a vial of horse procreational fluids.
Well done.
To make new baby horses that they can then raise to run a couple of races and then put out to pasture, literally in this case. I just can't get into it. And really, it's not the horse's fault. It's not even the pretentious rich people's fault. Do you know whose fault it is? It's your fault, America. It's your fault. Because for 364 days per year, none of you give a good gosh darn about horse racing. But then that one Saturday in May rolls around. And all of a sudden, everybody in my life suddenly becomes horse racing experts. All of a sudden, everybody in my life has a take on, well, you know, when they run on this surface versus that substrate versus that dirt, and this, he's got a lap time or a whatever time, a marker time. I don't even know because I don't care. But every first Saturday in May, I stumble into this world where all of y'all become horse racing experts. And then you know what happens? The race wraps up at, it starts at 6:02 on Saturday, and then it's over at 6:04 Saturday. And then blissfully, I get 364 consecutive days where none of you give a damn about horse racing anymore.
Just a quick aside, Luke Combs just popped up on my feed, and you're right.
I know. It's Cole. He's Cole. You've never seen Luke Combs and Cole in the same room.
No.
Is all I'm going to say. However, while I do not like the Derby, I will attend a Kentucky Derby party because while I do not like the Derby, I like a mint julep quite a bit.
Have you ever been to a racetrack, though?
Yes.
An actual racetrack? Did
Yes.
you put any money down when you went?
I did not, because to me, what's the reason?
Well, you bet on other stuff. I would have thought you got like $5. You could put it down on a horse and see what happens.
Nah. I'd rather buy a lottery scratcher. Okay? I'd rather buy a scratchy.
There was a major, I guess major horse facility. I forget what they're called.
I'm not helping you. Horse facility is what it is.
Facility is what it is.
Horse facility.
I was going to say one of them horse racing places. That's right down the road from where I worked at Kroger's, and one of the cashiers was dating a bookie, or a guy who spent a lot of time at the track. And he wore like a small hat. He looked like a classic movie guy. So we went and talked to him a couple of times when we went to the track.
Oh, there's a real horse gambling community.
Yeah. I mean, he gave us a couple. He didn't give us any big time stuff. He's like, here, you want to earn a couple bucks? Here you go. I'll give you a couple. And we actually working at Kroger's. You don't make a lot of money. You just went and put $5 down and got enough to go out and get pizza. So, I mean,
there is a real horse racing community. And I will say this. If you are someone who gambles on the ponies and isn't throwing your life away doing it, but enjoys gambling on the ponies, and I have one friend who legitimately gambles horses. And he knows the horses. Like, he will sit there and be like, oh yeah, this horse did this, and at this race on this surface, he turned in this time and he did that. And like, he genuinely gambles on the horses and he gets it. I'll listen to that guy. And that's it. The rest of you, not a word about it. Okay. That being said, while I have zero love for the Derby, I do not tune in to watch the on-screen Kentucky Derby party because I don't care about the celebrities in their big hats. I could care less. I like a mint julep. I like wearing seersucker on a Saturday afternoon, and that's about it.
So you don't want to see what Travis Kelce's dressed like when he goes?
Nope.
You don't want to see what Xavier Leggett is going to be dressed
stop.
like?
Nope. You're getting to me before I get there.
No, I was trying to bring it back around.
So I'm getting there.
Doing that team thing.
I do not care what your celebrities show up looking like. The same as I don't care what they show up looking like at the Grammys or the Oscars or anything else. I don't care what they're wearing. They all look like jackasses. None of us are going to dress like that. I don't care. I now have a reason to watch Kentucky Derby coverage on Saturday. And that reason is this man.
What's going on, y'all? I'm out here with them horses. I'm here to NFL, so the correspondent there, we here to Kentucky. You got a main thoroughbred right here. Got my rider steer right here. Got my main rider right here. I ain't them my boy now. They ride for me. Why we gonna do it here? Come on. Show me your real. Put him in the race too now if they want to do it.
You know, my favorite part of that clip is?
It was a good looking horse, by the way, from what I understand. I mean, it looked like a decent, I thought it was kind of like a thoroughbred. I don't know if it was or not.
I have no insider horse knowledge. The horse knowledge I have is I know how to ride a horse, and I can look at a horse and go, that's a pretty horse. That's pretty much it. Xavier Leggett, that's a horse guy. Okay? I will trust Xavier Leggett with my horse racing entertainment. I will watch it because Xavier Leggett is the NFL's social media Kentucky Derby correspondent. If they just strap a camera onto the guy following Xavier Leggett around, and I may not go to a Kentucky Derby party on Saturday. I may just sit home, drink cold Busch Lights, and watch Xavier Leggett talk about horses at the Derby. My favorite part about that clip, as the official Xavier Leggett translator of the Upstate, is that one even got away from me a little bit. My favorite bit about that.
Well, I mean, he did. He said he was going to represent the NFL. All the things that you had said before, I could hear him say.
Oh, I got it.
Then he was bragging on his horse. And if you watch the video, he's showing off the horse and stuff too.
I got it, but I kind of had to take notes. That one was the most XL sounding XL clip so far. I am a huge fan. My favorite thing, though, is the fact that the NFL is going to be working overtime, because without me there to serve as the official XL translator for their social media feed, they're going to have to figure out how in the hell they're going to put like live subtitles up while Xavier Leggett is doing this, because the replies on that video.
Is that disrespectful if they do that?
No.
Putting up.
No.
Because my guy is speaking English.
Yes. With a very thick country ass accent. Let's not pretend that Xavier Leggett sounds like a Harvard man. He doesn't. He sounds like a country fella. And that's not disparaging. It's just an accent.
Why would you compare the two? Because when you think of Harvard, you think of smart. So it makes it sound like you're saying not. And I don't agree with that. You know,
you wouldn't agree that Harvard equals smart.
That people at Harvard sound a certain way. I don't think all people from Harvard sound the same way.
I'm not saying all people from Harvard sound a certain way. I'm saying
so you're talking
nobody
about
is going
haughty versus homegrown.
No, Xavier Legette has a thick country accent.
He does.
That's all. And for people,
but according to him, everyone in Mullen sounds just like that.
For people who do not have someone in their life who speaks like Xavier Legette, the man's hard to understand. That's not a bad thing. It's just reality. He's hard to understand. And so the subtitles are going to be, I can understand him because I have people in my family who sound like Xavier Legette. I grew up around that accent. I get it. I understand it. I can hear it.
Can we get some of them on the show?
I'll find out. See if I can get my Uncle Jimmy on the show. I'm going to tell you right now, we might as well just get Ed Orgeron on the show and hand him a couple of bottles of bourbon beforehand. Let's go, Edo.
So we're talking like Farmer Fred or whatever his name was.
Put that water. That whore going to get behind that gate, and then that trumpet dude going about, and them whore going to come out the gate, and the horse is going to go around that corner, and they're going to run the mud flying everywhere, and then jockey's and little dude up on that horse, they're going to be riding them horses around that track, and then one of them horses going to hit the finish line first, and they're going to get some flowers, and that's going to be great.
Now I want to see Xavier Legette and Ed Orgeron reporting together.
I would not leave my house. Sorry, everybody I told that I would come to your Kentucky Derby party. If Ed O and XL are on a broadcast together, I'm going to go ahead and say they should just call everything. They should just. Oh, sorry. Go Tigers. I didn't cap it off. That's my bad. Thanks for the catch, James. I have to tell you, this Saturday, I will not be attending a Kentucky Derby party after I get off the air. This Saturday, I will be attending a Xavier Legette watch party. No. I don't want you to turn the Kentucky Derby celebrity pregame coverage on. I want you to hook your phone up to your television, and I want you to aircast the NFL's social media outlets because I don't give a damn about anyone in that building with the exception of Xavier Legette. That's it. That's all that I want to hear, listen to, talk about. I want as much XL on Saturday as I can possibly get. That's all. I can't wait. That's going to be absolutely spectacular. I don't. Why would you watch anything else? All right, we got to run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I was going to do it there, the Audio Blitz, give you some of the best audio I've picked up this week, but that is the best audio that I've picked up this week. So when we come back, got a few more clips I'm going to play, and we're going to react to some from Ryan Day, Rory McIlroy. Kenyon Barnard talked about his welcome to the league moment. Yet another guy who says Luke Kuechly provided it, and more. I am Rob Brown. He's the great one, Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Mullins High School's mascot is the Auctioneers. Is that true? They are. Holy crap. That's interesting. All right, be right back. Stay right there. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate, the Audio Blitz. Some of the best audio we have picked up since the last time we did the Blitz. Had some technical issues this week that kept me from grabbing audio, but I grabbed some audio. Let's start with this one. Bill Simmons, noted baseball / Boston Red Sox fan, was doing an episode of the Unlistenable podcast. That's the name of the podcast, and I love it. He went off on a bit of a tangent, and I got to tell you, I thought it was hilarious.
Game 6 story. He doesn't go to the game, and he tells the story about how he had to go see about a girl, and it still bugs me that he didn't go to the game or so well.
To be fair, I think it would bug
It's my
you
biggest nitpick.
if he was skipping like a Hornets Blazers game. You'd be like, what?
No, this is a tough one, though. They're down 3-2 in the World Series. They'd only been in 67 and in 46. Everybody loved the 75 Red Sox team, including me. And it was the Lennon Rice team, and Yaz was still there. And he's just like, yeah, I'm going to take my ticket. I'm not going to go. I really feel like his friends would have like fought him.
He's a fictional character.
It's a good point. I always forget that.
And this story serves as the emotional metaphor for the entire movie.
I kind of agree with Bill. I don't think that guy doesn't go to game 6.
I'm trying to think like how
Just
great
get her
would the
number.
girl have been? Yeah, she would understand too if it was the right
She's from
girl.
here?
That's a good take.
Actually, should she marry him if he didn't go?
It's like he would sell out the thing he loves the most right away. Yeah, I wouldn't trust him.
So they are talking about Robin Williams' character from the movie Good Will Hunting, who, in trying to mentor a young and emotionally struggling Matt Damon's character, tells Matt Damon that he had tickets to go see Game 6 of that World Series. A Game 6 where the Red Sox had to win back-to-back to win the World Series. They ultimately would. It became perhaps the most iconic moment in the history of the Boston Red Sox. And in the movie, Robin Williams' character tells Matt Damon, who is in the movie a big-time Red Sox fan, that he skipped out on that Game 6, gave away his tickets to go see a girl that he had just met at a bar. And I have to say, I kind of totally agree with Bill Simmons on this one. I hated that. I hated that in that movie. I'm like, wait. And in the movie, Robin Williams' character would go on to fall in love with that girl, to marry that girl, to spend a couple of decades with that lady. She would get, if I recall correctly, I think she got cancer and passed away. But the whole point for Robin Williams was sometimes you just got to roll the dice, because that ended up being the greatest thing in his life. And my response was, yeah. What happened if she sucked, right? What happened if you got there and it turned out she was just in it for the free drinks? Or what happened if you got there and you're a big Red Sox fan and she goes, I hate baseball and I can't date a guy who likes baseball? What happens if you get there and it turns out that it's like your buddy's ex and you can't date her or something, right? You passed up on Game 6 tickets to the World Series. What happens if you go on this date, you get there, it doesn't work out for any reason at all, and the Red Sox go on to win that World Series? I skipped out on the Saints Super Bowl. I had tickets available to me to go watch the Saints play the Colts in the Super Bowl down in Miami, Florida. And I skipped out. You know why I skipped out? I skipped out because I thought it was going to make me a great employee. My boss said, hey, Rob, we booked a remote for the Super Bowl. You're a big Saints fan. It would do a lot of good for the station, for you, for the sponsor, if you were the one who hosted that event. So we'd like you there. We'll pay you double. And I said, you know what? My boss is going to think that if I skip out, and I made it known that I had tickets, if I skip out on this Super Bowl to stay here and do this remote because it's very important for the radio station, if I stay here and do this, my boss is going to think I'm a great employee. I'm never going to be in trouble in my life. So I didn't go to the Super Bowl. I missed out on the Saints beating the Colts because the other thought was, it's Peyton Manning. We're probably not going to win this game, right? So That would stink to pass up on double pay, make myself look like a great employee, yada, yada, to drive all the way to Miami, spend a ton of money to go watch my team lose their first, last, and only Super Bowl. Well, I didn't go. The Saints won the Super Bowl. Do you know what happened? The guy I replaced that went to jail for multiple felony accounts came out of jail about 6 weeks later, and I got fired so that he could have his job back.
You know, I get this. It's an unfortunate thing that happened to you, but love or baseball, choose love, man. I mean,
he had not been on a date with this girl.
Yeah.
This wasn't like, now, if it was the wife of 17 years and she had a major medical thing, yes, of course, skip it for your wife. He had not met this girl.
Know, right? I mean, sometimes you just know.
He didn't know. He hadn't met her.
Okay.
That's the whole point. He doesn't know this girl.
It's also a fictional character. But again, if in real life, I believe, what percentage of guys go for the girl and not the baseball?
I don't think it is about what percentage of guys. I think it's the fact that in the movie he's a big Red Sox fan.
No, but I'm just asking.
What percent of Red Sox fans would have passed up on a Game 6 World Series ticket to go meet a girl he had never met before at a bar? 2% of them. 2%. 2%.
It depends on the age of the guy, and again, the chance that the girl. So he had no idea what the. You keep saying met at the bar because I never watched Good Will Hunting. So you keep saying met at the bar. So he knows what she looks like.
If I recall correct, I haven't seen Good Will Hunting in like 10 years. But if I recall, he had like seen her, had one conversation, and they set up a date.
He knows what she looks like. It's not like it's a blind date. So
does it matter? This is Game 6 of the World Series.
Yeah, guys going for the girl every time. I think
not a chance.
Just about every time.
No. Absolutely not. Listen, if I was on the verge of proposal with this girl, then like maybe we talk. But here's the other thing. If she's worth marrying, she's going to go, no, dummy, go to the game. We can go to the bar literally tomorrow.
All right. So
the day after. There is one World Series Game 6 this year.
We had a caller who called in and sang My Sacrifice to Rob earlier in the hour. You got to be willing to sacrifice a baseball game for true love.
This isn't a baseball game. This is Game 6 of the World Series. If this is an April matchup between the Red Sox and the Twins, I'm like, yeah, go meet the girl. Maybe she's the one. This is not an April game between the Red Sox and the Twins. This is the World Series game number 6, and you're going to meet a girl that you have no idea if she's the one. That's a terrible decision, man. This isn't like, oh, I'm going to meet somebody because I love them. This is maybe down the line, potentially I can meet him. The right call is, hey, listen, I know we had a date, and if you don't understand, that's fine. It's just not going to work out. But I've been a Red Sox fan my entire life. I got tickets to the World Series. Any chance we could go to the bar, I don't know, the day after that?
Yeah. You don't go to the game because you can watch that on DVR. You don't want to regret the rest of your life going, that might have been the one, and I passed it up for something that I could have viewed like a bunch of different ways, even though I wasn't there in person. Because you being there in person, I mean, yeah, it gives you an experience. So does the fact that you passed up on what could have been the one for baseball.
No. For the World Series.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't April 12th at home against the Rockies. This is World Series Game 6 that this man skipped out on. Okay? That I have been on 100 first dates in my life. I married one of those women. Now, today, I'd skip out on anything for her. I'd skip out on the Saints in the Super Bowl for her.
It's not really sounding that way, though, because, I mean, your whole thing, yeah, but it's the World Series. You've said that a bunch of times.
He wasn't married to her. They had not been on a date. I would skip a Super Bowl for my wife. However, do you know what I did? I married a woman who says, I understand how important sports are to you, and I understand how important your teams are to you, and that you have been fans of your teams for 30, 35, 40 years, so I would never ask you to do that. When I was born, the moment I was born, I was wrapped in a New Orleans Saints blanket. I was literally born a Saints fan.
Don't be semantic here, but that doesn't make you a fan.
Literally born a Saints fan, okay? I would skip a Saints Super Bowl for my wife if she asked me to. The thing is, I married a woman who would never ask me to.
It's pretty easy to do right now. I mean,
You get the point. You don't have to be a jerk.
I mean,
you don't have to be a jerk. All right. I'll tell you what, let's run to a break. We'll do it extend. I got a couple more clips that I want to get to, but that's stuck in my craw. Bill Simmons has got a very good point there. Very good point there. You do not skip out on Game 6 of a World Series for a woman you've never had a full conversation with.
Go for the girl, man.
No.
Most guys would.
No, they wouldn't.
They'll tell you something different.
You know what?
Going for the girl.
You know what? 844-326-3663.
I'm going to put it in a poll that I word a certain way where there's no way that anyone could, actually vote in the poll fairly.
If you are Robin Williams' character in Good Will Hunting, you have a choice. Meet the girl that you had a very brief conversation with at a bar for a first date or World Series Game 6. I'm going to make it easy. Text 844-326-3663. Text girl or text bar. Ladies, you can participate. Text fella, text girl or text game. Girl or game, guy or game. Okay? Real simple. Did he make the right call? If you were in that character's shoes, are you going to meet the girl or are you going to the game? 844-326-3663. Text us your answers. We'll do the rest of the blitz when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Game kicks, people.
No Wrestling is awesome. He and his friends had a group of tickets. And not only did he go to the bar to meet the girl, he ditched his friends to do it.
I don't think that's what he's talking. I think he's talking about how the fact that you were wrapped in New Orleans gear. I think that's.
So he said, couldn't he have taken the girl to the World Series with him?
Oh, I was looking at the one under it.
Mm-mm. No, he had plans with he ditched his friends to go meet some girl. That's the ultimate.
You keep
bros
saying,
before hoes moment.
No, you're painting the picture wrongly because you keep saying some girl, a girl he had already met. So he knows what she looks like. Obviously, he feels like they vibe, and that's the reason why he's going. Every time you say it the way you're saying it, you make it sound like he never met the girl before.
Dude, if you've had one conversation with a girl, she's still some girl. She is some girl until you've at least gone on some dates. My man had been on 0 dates. That's the most unrealistic love story in movie history.
Everyone who's on your side, you're liars.
So everyone.
No.
You're literally the only one between both platforms right now that says he did the right thing.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Okay. The core listeners are going to go against me and vote for you because obviously you're the star of the show.
No, quit making it out.
So they're going.
Quit making it out.
They're going to go with you, and plus, after your near fall earlier, you need a win. You do. So they're just trying to pick you up like them 3 angels did. Like most opinions that people have, I believe my opinion is right. And just like I can't change your opinion on this, your very wrong opinion, you can't change mine, the very right opinion. There's no way scientifically and factually to prove this.
I mean, in this case, right and wrong is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
However, you're wrong.
As I am teaching my granddaughter, I'm right, no talkbacks. That means it's over. Once you say no talkbacks, there's no.
Oh, that's going to backfire on you sooner rather than later. My favorite clip ever was a lady that was on her dashboard cam. She pulls up to a coffee shop, and she's got like a young daughter in the back, and she orders a coffee, and the girl in the back goes, "Mom, can I have a cookie?" And the mom goes, "No, baby, we have cookies at home." And she goes, "We have coffee at home." And the mom goes, "Can I have a cookie too?" All right, Texture says, "This is Forrest. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I would ignore anyone on earth to go to a Cowboys Super Bowl." Yeah, listen, I'm not saying ignore your wife to go to the game. I'm saying ignore a girl you've never been on a date. And oh, by the way, dude ghosted his bros for this, which is maybe even more.
We should refine the search, not that we could, but and make it only single people who haven't been in a relationship ever or in a while, and ask them because most people have been married for a while and you're having this opinion. I mean, there are lonely people out there, and they see a shot, an opportunity, and they don't want to pass up on the fact that might be the one. You've already found the one, Rob. This guy didn't, so he made the right choice.
I have skipped out on women in the past for less than a damn World Series. Hey, speaking of love stories, you remember a couple of weeks ago the Braves were up in Toronto. The Braves guys on the FanDuel Sportsnet that cover the games. When Wiley Ballard, who is their stadium reporter, went up into the upper deck party area at the game, he ended up doing a quick little interview with two young ladies. And as he concluded the interview, the play-by-play and color guy, Ben Ingram and Joe Simpson, they said, "Hey, you should ask for their numbers. You should get their numbers, Wiley. You should holla at them, Wiley." And Wiley, being the super smooth playboy that he is, took full advantage and said to the young ladies, "Hey, the guys in the box, they would like for me to get your number." And it was very interesting because a lot of us out here were like, "Data baby Wiley." And a lot of other people were like, that's not okay. That's uncomfortable. They put that young lady in an uncomfortable position. That's inappropriate. Blah, 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 blah. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. She could have said no. She could have given the fake number, whatever. She could have embarrassed him on TV, just like whatever. Like, I thought it was great. Well, it was asked multiple times, what happened with old Wiley? He got the number. Did he use it? Ben Ingram and Joe Simpson do a Braves podcast. And earlier this week, they followed up on the story.
It's not like he was at a White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is baseball.
No, it wasn't.
So I don't take it all that seriously. So I was entertained and thought it was pretty lighthearted.
It seemed like the girls were in good spirits and had a good time with it.
Well, let me tell you this. She approached Wiley. A. B. She asked him to dinner the following night.
Wow.
And C. He went to dinner and she told him, "By the way, I gave you my number for a reason." So,
wow.
Who are we to judge where love begins and ends?
Yeah, it was in Toronto, and I was afraid Wiley wouldn't get back in the country.
Right. He might have wanted to stay.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that worked out a lot better than I thought.
Attaboy, Wiley! My man. My guy. Here's the fun part. He's the play-by-play guy for the Atlanta Braves. They were in Toronto. Meaning more than likely that young lady was from Toronto. Which means that young lady looked at Wiley Ballard and said, "Not every night, but maybe tonight. I don't need Mr. Right. I need Mr. Right now." And that's my guy. That guy with the microphone. Let me get them digits, big boy. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. My man Wiley texted her. She took him to dinner the next night and said, "I gave you my number for a reason." That a boy, Wiley. That's absolutely fantastic. Paul Bissonnette is the host of the Spit and Chicklets podcast. He is also on the NHL on TNT, where he does a studio show. And he told a story the other night that had Wayne Gretzky ready to fall off of the desk.
I have a confession to make too. For about a year, I wore no jock when I was playing pro, and I felt that it was restricting me. Here we go, Wayne. Here we go. Okay, so I felt it was restricting me. So I thought I was a genius. After all those years, I thought I'd figured it all out. That's when you boiled it down to. So I go to training camp in Pittsburgh, and Sergei Gonchar is rushing the puck up the ice. At that time, I was the defenseman. He goes to dump it in. It hits me right in the and I am just keeled over. I missed the rest of the, we had the inter squad games. I didn't play. I was on the bench, just like I sing my gonads, and I was like, jock. How is that impossible? Well, after that, I obviously put a jock back on. Yeah. Well, we're getting called off right now. So we should probably move it along to the transition highlights.
Now, I think all of us have had the unfortunate incident take place where you take a hockey puck or you take a basketball or an inadvertent shot to the boys.
He didn't mention a cup because jocks don't come with cups. You have to put them in there.
Yeah, I think we know what he meant. I think we know what he meant there. He wasn't wearing a cup. I think a lot of people refer to the whole apparatus as a jock. The story, however, is not the vernacular around which he describes that particular piece of, let's call it super important safety equipment. It's the fact that my guy took it the very best, a wrister to the boys, at the worst, a 100+ mile an hour high. And by the way, if you don't know this about hockey, those hockey pucks, before they go out on the ice, are kept in an ice bath. They are kept frozen. Hockey pucks, like if you go grab one of those pucks off the wall over there, they're rubber. They're hard. But before they throw them out on the ice, they are in a bucket of ice. They keep them frozen. They are we shouldn't use the phrase rock solid. We should use the phrase solid as puck, because they are beyond rock solid when they go on the ice. This man took a hockey puck to the boys. I'm just going to say, Paul Bissonnette, sometimes some life lessons are more painful than others.
Yeah, out of all professional sports or sports ever in the history of humankind, the only sport where you could literally lose your groin is hockey.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I don't. That's a stupid.
Listen, hockey players
I get freedom. I understand freedom. Freedom's a wonderful thing, but ice down there is not good.
No. Our old baseball coach back when I was in high school, Lee Hale, he would walk around practice, and once per practice,
did he do a cup check?
Once per practice, somebody got cup checked. One person per practice, somebody got cup checked. He would walk around and he would have a baseball bat, and once per practice at a random time, sometimes at the beginning, sometimes at the end, sometimes in the middle, sometimes closer to the beginning or closer to the end, but once per practice, he would walk around and he would take the skinny end of the bat and he would just go, cup check. And if you weren't wearing your cup that day and it wasn't like he gave it to you. What? And if you didn't wear your cup that day and you were the unfortunate victim of the cup check, you went to the grass.
Yeah, I don't think you can get away.
That ain't no joke.
I don't think you can get away with that in 2025.
Oh, I doubt it.
A lawsuit or something.
I doubt it. This was definitely a much more 2001 scenario.
Here's the other thing. Never cup checked by a coach, but your fellow player.
Oh, the fellows would do it all the time.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah, the fellas would do it all the time. And boy, forgive you if you got found out early in the practice because you were getting cup checked repeatedly the rest of the practice, buddy. Worst thing ever. Hey, I have a new favorite NFL player, mainly because I get it, my guy. I get it. Offensive lineman Gray Zabel got drafted this past weekend. He is headed to the Seattle Seahawks. He went on Seattle Sports Radio to do his very first interview as the newest member of the Seattle Seahawks.
What do you do tonight? What do you do tomorrow before the Seahawks send you out here?
Man, I'm probably going to
start diving into these bush lights and celebrate. have the 12-hour rule. We get to celebrate it for 12 hours when we get back to work.
12-hour rule. What are you going to do to hit the celly getting drafted to Seattle, Gray Zabel? I don't know, man. Probably dive into this cooler full of bush lights. That's my guy.
He'll probably be there a bunch because it's pretty depressing there, I understand. So
that's my dog right there. Gray Zabel. And by the way, about 4 hours after he put that up there, he sent out a tweet tagging Bush Light that said, "Uh-oh, out of Bush Lights. Can somebody hook me up?" My man gets it. He's angling for that Bush Light endorsement before he puts on the neon green uni for the first time. That might be my favorite new offensive lineman. That might be my favorite new football player. That's my guy right there. I'm just diving in. Let's go with let's go with this one. Lonzo's from Ohio. Ohio is the Florida of the North. Florida is the Ohio of the South. It's just full of people who are, we'll say, different. Like this young man, a funeral director in Columbus, Ohio, whom started a whole news story dedicated to him.
My role in this position is to kind of be a party planner for dead people.
Hunter Triplett, the owner of Evergreen Funeral, Cremation, and Reception, wants to shed the business's reputation of being dark and morbid by offering manageable prices and the option for mourners to raise a toast to a lost loved one with a bar.
We'll only be offering alcohol when people are on this premises and remain on the premises until the continuation of our services, just for the safety of the people in the community around.
Triplett says adding a bar will allow people to make the service more personalized. Evergreen is the largest full-service funeral home in Central Ohio, and Triplett says will be the first of its kind in the state.
And their inspector called me and they're like, "Is this Evergreen Funeral?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You would be the first funeral home to get a liquor license in the state of Ohio."
If people aren't crushing brewskis at my funeral, I did it wrong. All right? That's it for me. If folks aren't going, you know what? He loved the Jack and Diet. Double tall Jack and Diets all around. I did it wrong. I love this guy, Morrison Triplett. I like this guy. I don't even care if mommy and daddy bought him the funeral home because he's weird and that's what he decided he wanted to do. Because this guy's not old. He's in like his mid to late 20s, I think. I don't care how he got. I don't care if he's a Nepo baby. Because this man said, funerals suck. Let's drink through it. That's a very New Orleans mentality. We drink through everything. Jazz funerals are a thing down there. We drink and we eat through everything. Maybe that's why I respect it. But funeral home with a bar is absolutely the way to go. I respect that immensely. Ryan Day.
We want guys who want to be at Ohio State. You know, if we have to talk you into coming to Ohio State, if money's the first thing you're looking for, this isn't the right place for you. And if people choose Ohio State because they want to come to Ohio State, they're more likely to stay. And so that's just a philosophy that we've had here, you know, for a long time, but now more than ever because of the way things are. And I think, you know, guys enjoy being at Ohio State. They like being here. And so as long as they're being valued, then they're going to stay because they know the development.
So Ryan Day says, yeah, philosophically speaking, when it comes to recruiting, we're looking for guys who want to be here. We're looking for guys who want to be a part of this team. We're looking for guys who want to play for us, because if they want to play for us, they're more likely to stay. If they are coming to play for us, they're more likely to want to stay as a part of the program. And I respect that. I also look and say, the Ohio State Buckeyes have the second highest NIL payout in college football, behind only Texas, who last year spent $22.2 million on NIL. The Buckeyes spent $20.2 million. Texas is expected to potentially reach $30 million in NIL payouts for their football team this year. Ohio State closer to $25 million. Last year, going into the season, up until right before the season started, Ohio State actually had the number one NIL valuation before Texas jumped up and grabbed it from them at the end. They will stay at the top, Texas, this year. Ohio State will stay at number 2. This is kind of one of those spots. I don't have any issue with them having the second highest NIL roster payout. I don't have any issue with Ryan Day saying, "Oh, we're just trying to find guys who want to be here. If money's your number one, you're not for us. And if you don't want to be a Buckeye, we don't want you to be a Buckeye." I respect all that. I respect both sides of that equation. You know where you lose me a little bit? This is one of those situations where you hear a guy say, "Money can't buy happiness. Anyway, I'm headed to my ski lodge this weekend. Money can't buy happiness. Anyway, going to refuel the Porsche 911. Money can't buy happiness. Anyway, heading down to the lake house to enjoy the wave runners this weekend." Yeah, money can't buy happiness. You know what it can do? Prevent you from being real sad all the time because you can't afford stuff. And you know what I mean? I get it. I am fine with the Buckeyes having the highest NIL valuation behind only Texas. I am fine with the philosophy of, yeah, it's not about the money. It's about the love of the horse chestnut. I will not listen to a rich guy say money can't buy happiness.
See, I don't take it that way. I take it as if you decide that you're going to come here and you're dedicated, the money's going to come because it will. It just will. The money's already there. You know it's there. If you're coming there, as money is your motivator, chances are you're not dedicated enough on the field. If you come there and you're dedicated enough to be an Ohio State Buckeye, you're going to get paid. You just are.
We will find out. By the way, Ohio State, I think you guys only had 1 or 2 player transfer out.
Well,
right?
Yeah, because everyone got drafted. It was the highest number of 14 picks or something. Yeah, you were
one off the record. I think 15 is the most draft selections for one team in 1 year. Yeah, so you guys hit 14.
Everybody done went to the NFL.
Everybody done went to the NFL. Let's see. Do I have a short clip to end this up? Sure. Why not, Draymond Green?
The ones that we can for sure get our hand on, we got to come up with those balls. So, I think it's crazy. Oh, my God. Wow. No, that reaction was to my words.
Draymond said,
I'm completely lost. I have no idea what.
Oh, he said they got to get their hands on all the balls they can get their hands on. And then he realized what he said.
Oh, okay.
Stopped himself.
Okay.
And the reason I played the clip was the end where even Draymond Green just started dying laugh. This is a very serious post-game press conference. This is after they lost the game because they had 16 turnovers and couldn't get any. And he's like, "Oh, you got to get your hands on all the balls you can get on." And then he stops himself and then starts laughing like an idiot on the podium. I don't like Draymond Green, but even I in that moment was like, "Hey, that's really funny. That's really funny. Yes, I'm 12 and I don't care. That's objectively comedic. I love it. Nice job, Draymond. Way to actually make me like you for a second. Don't do it again. I don't want to."
Did you just become brothers?
Brother. Anybody who says we got to get our hands on all the balls we can get our hands on and then giggles like a schoolgirl at it. Yeah, I can hang out with that guy.
Thank you for not playing the Gronk laugh.
And what do you know? We got a couple haters.
All right. That's 3 hours down. We got 1 hour left to go. When we come back, let's take a look at the weekend slate. We've got the NBA's first round coming to its conclusion either tonight or tomorrow. The NHL's opening round coming into its conclusion either tonight or tomorrow. We'll set you up for that. We got weekend baseball, the Bravos hosting the Dodgers. What do I want to see out of Atlanta this weekend? I'll let you know and more as we roll on. But before we get to that, the Draymond Green of sports flashes, Lonzo.
King of cheap shots. Who you think set up that chair? The New York Knicks are moving on to round 2 after a 116-113 win over the Pistons. Jalen Brunson dropped 50 and Mikal Bridges had 25, while Karl-Anthony Towns grabbed 15 boards. New York had only 6 points off the bench, but it was enough. The Knicks face Boston in round 2. Los Angeles Clippers have tied their series with Denver to force a Game 7 with a 111-105 win over the Nuggets last night. James Harden had 28 points and 8 assists. Kawhi Leonard had 27 points and 10 boards, and Norman Powell added 24. The elimination game is tomorrow night. Scottie Scheffler took the lead at the Byron Nelson with a 10 under 61 to open the tournament, turning in a 29 on the front nine. Scheffler missed last year's event held in his hometown in Texas for the birth of his child, which is a good thing. Hour number 4 coming up. Having an extreme earache in a room with a really loud person is it's difficult.
Rinse and refresh. Break up with stinky clothes. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the things that just will never come out. Every now and then I rinse it out. Wash it smells so clean. Downy rinse and refresh. It's a dream. Downy rinse and refresh. Fight odor in just one wash. Guaranteed. When it comes to the best sports talk, keep yourself on, man. Listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search the Fan Upstate, and you're in the game. Hey, now we roll. The Fan Upstate. Wire to wire with diesel and cold racing. Turn on, lead on. It's a little healthier for you, wouldn't it? Smoke you back today. You gotta
Steven, I can. I just don't want to.
How did you make it worse?
Can you stay on the rest of the show and do nothing but this, Lulu?
I'm so sorry. I hear 1995 was a great year, though.
Don't hit snooze. Play the Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
I really like that promo. I do
too.
Yeah, There's NSYNC music in the background. You just couldn't hear it because of where it was. I am award-winning, James.
Oh, I'm a big fan of the Cosmic Vibe. That is one of the go-tos for me. Here we go. Hour number 4. The final hour of the day. The final hour of the week. The final hour of the show.
Wonderful.
Not the best time for that clip, but I get it. Rolling on for the final 60. Rob Lonzo and you here on the Rob Brown Show.
It is a good time for that clip if you know that it's the last hour that you're at work.
Well, I did
and
say,
you're getting ready to get your weekend going.
I said last hour of the show. Wonderful.
Yeah, no. That meant, hey, we're off in an hour.
Yeah.
So you want to go with the negative, whereas I want to go with the positive.
I will be on the BetMGM network today from 12 to 1. Then I will be on the BetMGM network tonight from 7 till 11.
Oh, so your weekend doesn't start. Okay.
Then I will be on the BetMGM network tomorrow from 12 to 4. Then I will be schmoozing at a Kentucky Derby party tomorrow afternoon. And then I have Sunday, but I haven't talked myself out of going over to Atlanta for the Braves-Dodgers game Sunday night.
To quote Nancy Reagan, I believe, just say no. Also, man, that mulch ain't going to put itself out. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think we're done with that.
Oh,
Plus,
really?
it's supposed to rain today and tomorrow, so I'm hoping the mulch gets really, really wet. Can't mulch if it's all soggy. And as the opponents of Nancy Reagan said, why would I say no when it's so much fun? So maybe Braves Dodgers Sunday night. I haven't decided one way or the next. I'm leaning towards it. It feels like that might be one of those series that if I skip out on it, I'm gonna wake up Monday and be like, dang, especially if the Braves win Sunday night, right? Like, why the hell did I not go?
Or you go and they get their butts beat and you go, why would I do this to myself? Why would I spend all this money to go over here?
That's gonna be because I got to see Shohei Ohtani play in person. That's going to be because I got to see Freddie Freeman back in Atlanta. I will be honest, and this may make me a bad Bravos fan. If I go over there for that, it is going to be as much about seeing the Dodgers as it is to go to a Braves game. That is going to be as much about seeing the Dodgers play as it is watching Atlanta play, because I believe this is the only time this season that the Dodgers are coming down. In fact, I'm relatively sure this is the last series against the Dodgers for the season. You opened with the LA Dodgers, and I believe that I think we close out the series with the Dodgers. Yeah, in fact, I know it is. So this would be the only chance that I have to see the LA Dodgers in person this year, unless there is a playoff series between the Braves and the Dodgers, and the Braves have a couple of homers against LA in the postseason. And if that is the case, I can't afford those tickets, so it wouldn't matter. Well, I could, but I don't want to afford those tickets, so it wouldn't matter. So this is this isn't a, the Cubs are coming to town, who I do want to see play because Kyle Tucker's a stud. But this isn't it's the Cubs, it's the Pirates, right? It's one guy. This is, even though the standings don't say it, surprisingly, even though the standings don't represent it yet because they've had so many injuries, this is the best roster of baseball players ever assembled. Oh, just in case you were curious, the Dodgers went from, in the last 7 days, 4 games back of the Giants in the NL West to tied with the Mets for most wins in baseball. And they do that with 3 of their 5 opening day starters on the shelf right now. They are missing 3 of their 5 best pitchers and are still tied for the best record in Major League Baseball. And by the end of this weekend, because they will take 2 out of the 3 from Atlanta, again, this is awful. My expectations for the Braves this weekend, compete, right? If you go 0-3, but they're all 7-6 games and you're getting 7, 8, 9 hits a game, so be it. If you if you take one out of the three, you're competitive in the other two. So be it. Like, just be competitive is all I'm really looking for here. This team is not in a spot where I expect them to win the series against the Dodgers. Show life, right? Show life. You've gotten yourself back to 1 game away from 500. 2 games away from 500. I would have really liked to have swept Colorado and get back to 500. It is what it is. We are where we are. Just be competitive in this series is all I'm looking for, man. That's all I want. That's all I want to see. We'll talk more about this coming up here in just a couple of minutes, because the unfortunate part for the Atlanta Braves is that the calendar was your enemy in the setup to this. The Dodgers, despite the fact that they are missing 3 of their 5 opening day starters, tonight and tomorrow, you're getting pitchers number 1 and 2 that are both healthy. You are getting Yamamoto and Sasaki out of the gate against LA, and you're throwing your effectively 3 and 4 guys against them. So, like, this would have been a wonderful series to have Spencer Strider available with that pulled hammy. It's going to be another couple of weeks before he can make his second return. But we'll see. We'll see. You're getting their 1, you're getting their 2. You're getting their opening day starter and their number 2 guy. You're throwing your either 2-3 or 3-4, depending on how you look at it against them. Just be competitive. Put the bat on the baseball, get guys on the bags, move them around. Don't end a game with 12 or 13 runners left in scoring position. If you get some walks, you have to make them pay for that. If guys are getting on the base, you have to find ways to move them around. I do not expect to win this series. Hell, I, to some degree, expect to get swept in this series. What I need you to do is just show me you can compete, that you can keep it entertaining against maybe the best roster of players ever assembled in one sport in professional American athletics. Keep it competitive. If the Braves go 0-3 in this series against the Dodgers, but all 3 games are competitive, I will come in here Monday, at that point 5 games below 500, and go, you got a foundation, right? You got a jumping off spot. You got something that you can look at and build off of. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Are you showing me that there's some guts in you? Are you showing me that there's some level of competition in you? And if you are, I can work with that. I can live with that. Where I have jumped off the wagon this year for this baseball team is when they forget how to hit the ball. When they are ending baseball games against the Colorado Rockies and their number 4 pitcher with 4 hits and 2 walks. That's the spot that I go, fellas, this is just not good enough. But if you compete, if you go out there and you compete, if you go up against the best assembly of talent on a single roster in any sport in the history of organized professional American sport, then I can say, all right, there's something in the tank. We've given ourselves a chance. Now it's build on that and get yourself ready for, a postseason run. Because looking at the East right now, the Mets are good. They're 21-11, but their pitching is out of this world right now. It is playing at a level that I do not think that the Mets can bring all season long. At some point, the pitching right now the Mets have is going to come back to earth, and the Braves have to be ready to strike when it does, either lined up against them in a divisional rivalry or ready to win games against sub-500 teams. And by the way, the Mets are 21-11 through 32 games. 20 of their 32 games have come against teams that are 500 or worse. The Braves have played 12 games against teams that are 500 or worse. Now, this is not me calling the Mets frauds. This is not me saying the Braves have had some sort of remarkably challenging schedule compared to everybody else, because there are spots that you can say that. There are spots that you can look at and go, man, that team might be fraudulent because they ain't played nobody, Paul. And the they ain't played nobody argument has played out in years gone by, where you look and you go, a baseball team's got 30 wins, but 22 of their games are against sub 500 teams. They're playing the bottom of the barrel more than anybody else, and they are benefiting from that. That is a real thing. That has happened. And then teams go on a run where of their next 30 games, only 10 of them are against sub 500 teams. And all of a sudden, would you look at that, their numbers start to tank. I don't think that is the case with the Mets. And if Juan Soto is heating up, he had a pair of home runs. He has been struggling to find the baseball after signing the second highest contract in the history of American, in the history of baseball. I believe it's in American sports at large. But after signing the second highest contract in Major League Baseball behind only Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto has struggled a little bit for the New York Mets. He homered twice their last time out. If he's starting to find the ball and the Mets offense comes alive, then the Braves really do have to get on the horse. Because what they can't do is have the pitching come back to earth for the Mets, but then they're hitting the ball. And now it's an offensive explosion in New York, which if the Mets open it up with Juan Soto, it absolutely could end up being just that. So for me, this weekend is, and this is not a year, just so we're clear, so it doesn't sound like I'm all excited about the team. This is not a year that I expected the Atlanta Braves to need a foundation weekend, to need a build off of weekend. I did not expect coming into this season that that the Atlanta Braves would be in a spot that I would be looking and going, you know what? I would settle for a moral victory this weekend. I need a morale victory. I need to come out of this weekend, even if we go 0-3, feeling good about the team. I just assumed we'd be feeling good about the team start to finish this year because they've got that much talent. And there's been some bright spots, man. Eli White's had some good spots. Matt Olson started to hit the ball a little bit more. Marcell Ozuna's starting to hit the ball a little bit more. But there's also some spots that things have fallen off. Ozzie Albies is struggling this year. The Braves' outfield has been the most hit or miss thing, and I mean that literally and metaphorically, maybe in Major League Baseball at large. Like, they've got some spots that things have gone right, but they've got more spots that things have gone wrong. So if you've got that many spots where things have gone wrong, it is turned this weekend into a weekend where we can say, look, I don't expect perfection. Hell, I don't even expect a series win. I would not be shocked if we got swept. What I am looking for is a foundation. What I am looking for is, can we leave this game? Can we leave this game saying to ourselves, okay, we are pointed in the right direction. We are pointed in a direction I am comfortable in. We are pointed in a direction where things have trended up. You need better pitching. You went and you got it. And so that for those of you that have followed this, because I had somebody when I talked about the Braves back in hour number 2 earlier say, are we calling Ian Anderson up? No. Ian Anderson is not getting called up. Ian Anderson got optioned. They DFA'd him, which is the equivalent of placed him on the waiver wires. They brought him over, placed him on the waiver wires after picking him up. They did that because they did not expect that anybody would sign Ian Anderson. They are sending Ian Anderson to Gwinnett. Why? Because the Braves staff is looking to retool Ian Anderson. They are looking to see if they can recapture some of the magic from back in the 2001 season. But they want to they want to work on the mechanics. They want to change the mechanics. There's a lot of changing and switching and alternating things that Ian Anderson has done. I do not expect, unless there is just a catastrophic situation, that Ian Anderson is going to get called up to the big league roster this year. I think they are looking at him as, okay, this is a project. If we can capture some of what Ian Anderson was a couple of years ago, then maybe he's a piece next year if we keep the window open and make a push at it. But realistically speaking, no. You got to deal with what you got to deal with. I don't want to say Atlanta's on a hold-on spot, right? Like, just hold on. Hold on until Ronnie is back. Hold on until Spencer is back again. But you kind of are. You kind of are. And so that, for me, says, can we just be competitive? Can we go out against the best team in baseball? And they're dinged up too. But can we go out against the best team in baseball and just build something to build something on? If the answer to that is yes, we're going to be in a really good spot. If the answer to that is no, if the Braves get decimated, if they are ending games, leaving every runner in scoring position on the bags, if they are ending games with 2 or 3 hits, then I would say, all right, you cannot compete with the best in the National League. That series that you won against the Phillies a couple of weeks ago feels nice, right? Except for, it turns out the Phillies are, I'm not going to say collapsing already, because again, we are 30 games into a 162-game season. But the Phillies are, they've fallen off from where they opened the season at, which is a pretty Philadelphia thing to do. It's a pretty annual occasion for them. But all of the sudden, if you get hammered by these Dodgers, the good vibes that you felt from winning the series against Arizona, the good vibes that you felt winning the series against Colorado, the good vibes that you felt winning the series with a sweep over the Twins, all of that goes for naught, because it gets you to a point where you go, we can't beat the teams that are actual threats. None of those teams are like front runners. I think Arizona could be in the playoffs. Do I consider them an NL front runner for the pennant? No, not really. The Twins are bad. And all of a sudden, it looks like the win over the Phillies may not be quite as valuable as you had hoped that it was when you got it. If you can't compete with LA, there's no point in throwing my lot in with this team until the All-Star game. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in a minute. Got a few more things I want to get into, including, because I found it during the break, an updated evaluation on Texas's NIL number. Because remember I told you it was over 20 million last year? You'll be shocked at the number it's expected to reach this year. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
About to have to find El Grande Americana.
We have an El Grande Americana club?
Yeah.
What does it say?
I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
El Shoosh. Be right back, dudes. All right, I wasn't gonna talk about it because I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but very clearly my radar on what is and is not a big deal is off this week. This is very interesting. The Rockets Warriors game. Steve Kerr has been interesting in this series. Last night, there were 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. The Rockets were up 93-64. And, excuse me, 2 nights ago, we're up 93-64. 30-point game. But there were 5.5 minutes left to play in the third quarter. And Steve Kerr emptied the bench, pulled the starters, was like, all right, waving the white. There were 18 minutes left to play in this game, and Steve Kerr waved the white flag. I got to tell you, I kind of had a problem with that.
How down were they?
30 points. But again,
no,
18 minutes in an NBA game.
Yeah, that's what
that's
I was
overcomable.
Say, for sure.
That's overcomable. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to play perfect, but they're overcomable. But that's not even the storyline. The storyline is that after that game, and I'm not going to play the whole clip, but I'll play you a chunk of it. Steve Kerr had a complaint that I did not change my speaker thing over for again, but I will now. Steve Kerr had a complaint.
The rule in the NBA is once the shot has been released, you're allowed to hit the guy's arm. And so what's happened in the league this year is players always are, you're going to outsmart the rules. They know what they're doing. So players all over the league are just taking shots at guys' shooting hands after release because they know it's not going to be fouled. And I'm very confident that next year the league will fix it because it's only a matter of time before somebody breaks a thumb or breaks a hand.
So Steve Kerr is complaining that in the National Basketball Association, after a shooter lets go of a shot, they cannot be fouled. You can hit him in the hand, right? Once the ball has cleared the hand and the follow through has happened, you can hit the hand. Well, Steph Curry has been dealing with a busted up thumb. In fact, there was a picture that went around to him right before the playoffs where he's got a big lump on his thumb, on his shooting hand. Now he's still playing through it. He's largely been shooting well. But in this playoff series, the Rockets, led of course by who else but Dillon Brooks. When Steph Curry has been shooting threes, once the ball goes over the hand, defenders are swiping their hand forward and they are hitting Steph Curry on the hand, on the thumb that is injured. Again, not enough to keep him out of the game, not enough to stop him from shooting threes in it, but is definitely not 100%. And Steve Kerr has a problem with that. And so there's this argument of, is it dirty? Is it not? Dillon Brooks even said in one of the post-game pressers, he's like, look, if you come into the game with an injury and that injury is known, we're going to target it. And so the question mark is there a difference between, say, going after a guy because that guy's not 100% versus going after an injury specifically?
Every sport, if you know there's an injury, you're going after that. I mean, it happens in football all the time. I'm not surprised that it's happening in basketball. You and I both, I'm going to speak for you in this. We both will be hitting that hand.
So,
notice he didn't deny it.
You're
hitting that hand. It's part of strategy.
I don't disagree.
Especially with one of the greatest shooters of all time. If you can do something to make his shot off, you're going to do that. It's no difference from setting a hard pick or just about any way of getting physical in a game. It just so happens it's his thumb. I mean,
I say this sincerely.
When I'm hand checking, I'm reaching out and yanking his thumb. I don't think that's cheating.
I'm not saying it's cheating.
It may be bad sportsmanship.
So the thought that I had when this kind of erupted as a conversation on the internet the other day. The conversation is effectively going after an injured player versus going after a specific injury. It is one thing if you know, for instance, that and you brought up football as the example there. If I know, for instance, that the left guard is dealing with a mild ankle injury, then to his, let's say, his right ankle, right? Left guard's dealing with a mild ankle injury on his right ankle. I know that he's not able to put his full support on that ankle. I am not only sending an extra rusher at that guy, but I'm sending an extra rusher on his right side. I am going to try to take advantage of the injury. That is not the same as saying, I'm going to have my defensive tackle dive at his ankle, right? Now, I don't know if that's fair or not. If I know that a shooter has an injured hand, then where is the line of attacking that injury, right? Is attacking that injury, you're going after that player? We know that this guy is not 100%, so our game plan is going to be focused on going after that player, or is we are going to attack the injury itself, right? It's one thing if you know a guy has, let's say, a busted rib, he's got a bruised rib, and the injury report says he has a hard time maintaining his breath once he starts breathing healthy. They're going to roll him out there, but he's got a bruised rib, so breathing hurts him. What am I going to do? I'm going to attack that guy with my stamina monster. I'm going to attack that guy with my hustle player. I'm going to make sure that if he wants the ball, he's got to be all over the court to find the space to get it. I'm going to make him work as hard as he can or as hard as he must in order to get the ball. Why? I want to make that man start breathing heavy ASAP to hurt that rib and make him need to check out. If I know a player has an ankle that is bothering him, then yes, I am going to put my most shifty guard. I'm going to set screens and picks in order to try to create advantages by putting my fastest, shiftiest player on him so that he has to constantly be leaning on that ankle. But that's not the same as saying, I'm going to try to kick his ankle, right? Anytime he drives, when he goes, I'm going to have my defender throw his foot out there and see if I can get him to step on that foot and turn his ankle back over. That's going after the injury itself. I genuinely don't know where I land on this, because on one hand, it is not a violation of the rules. On one hand, there is no rule against it. And on one hand, there's a busted thumb. On the flip side, are we good with going after a specific injury? Not the injured player. Not going after the injured player. Not going after the guy. Yes, if there is a guy on the floor that I know is not 100%, I'm going after that guy. But that's going after the guy, not trying to exacerbate the injury. To me, it kind of feels like this is the equivalent of trying to hurt a guy. A spot that I have gotten upset at before, right? Intentionally trying to hurt a guy. This is why, for instance, I remember a fight I got into in local radio a long time ago, back when I worked in Florida, because many years ago, John Lynch, now the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, I don't remember if it was an interview he did or if it was in his book, but he told the story of how when he was a player, if there was a scrum, right, there's a pile up, player goes down, took a few defenders, couple of blockers, big pile on the ground over the guy with the ball. John Lynch said, if you were down there in the bottom of a scrum and you saw a finger, you tried to break it, right? If you saw an exposed number and you tried to punch that guy in the ribs and take the wind out of him or break his ribs. And a lot of the old hat football fans were like, yeah, that's a man. That's a dog right there. And I went, no, that's kind of gross, bro. That's kind of nasty. You see a finger and your thought is, I'm going to break it? That's psychopathic behavior, even on the field of competition. And I took a real hard stance against John Lynch in that spot. I'm like, this isn't something we should glorify. Could you imagine a world if this trickles down to high school ball where kids start trying to break other kids' fingers over a football game? The nation would have a justifiable panic attack over that. We shouldn't glorify this. And this kind of feels like that to me. Going after the player because the player is not 100%, absolutely part of the game. If you're going to roll a guy out there with an injury, you expect that the other team is going to try to exploit the injury. But intentionally trying to injure someone is where I'm going to draw a line at unacceptable. And this genuinely feels like the goal is not disrupt Steph Curry. It feels like the goal is aggravate the injury so that he can't play no more. And that, to me, is a spot where a line gets crossed. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show up next. Rob Lonzo and you, The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. The ghost of Seymour Wiener.
Carolina and App State square off in a 3-game series starting tonight. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. Chuck Sanders, that's the fourth watch of the Fan Upstate.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million.
That's a fair point, James. Do you really get to complain if Jamon Green is on your team? Fair call.
They will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps, or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to.
I am not AI. I am actually a person.
Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a
One thing about Expedition 33 that's a little hard to get used to is the voice of Shadowheart. She's the voice actor, also is a major voice actor of one of the main characters. It just sounds like the same voice.
That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. Legacybox.com/value.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in.
So it's Shadowheart and Daredevil.
I did finish Daredevil.
Did you?
Yeah.
Rob, where was Spider-Man? The same question that was asked after the current movie I just went to see. Where's Spider-Man? Is he at MIT? Where is MIT?
Massachusetts.
That's what I thought. So maybe he's at MIT.
My question was, where are the defenders? But I'm also going to go, it was such a Daredevil-centric story that they could have absolutely been off in the background fighting and just never showed up.
Maybe.
Wrapping up the Rob Brown Show for the day, for the week. Here on the Fan Upstate, Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you, 844-326-3663 is the number if you want to be a part of it, 844-326-3663 is the number. Jump on board. You can text that line, the Hub City Spartanburger text line, or you can shoot me a text or jump on the air. Did I say the text first? You can do that, or you can jump on the air, whatever you want to do. However you want to handle it, we would love to have you. All right, let's take a look at the weekend upcoming, shall we? We have got the National Basketball Association playoffs continuing. Coming up this evening, we have a game 6. Houston is at Golden State. The Dubs favored by 5.5 in this one. The over-under set at 205.5. Tip-off at 9 p.m. In this one. The gut says Golden State up 3-2 puts the first one at the crib away. The gut says Golden State understands that if they drop this game, they are losing game 7 in Houston. That's been the bugaboo for this team so far. So my thought is Golden State is going to give you the best they got. Golden State won at Houston in game 1, lost at Houston game 2. They won both at home. They lost at Houston in game 5, game 6 back in California. So they did get one in the opening game, but remember, that was the game, not that he has it in multiple games, but that was the game Jimmy Buckets went the bleep off. So unless you are just going to have another Jimmy Butler legacy game in game number 7, it feels like the Dubs either win this game tonight or they lose the series. I am going to go with Golden State puts it away this evening. They're going to need better out of Steph. Let's start in with that. I cannot have a game where Steph Curry goes out and goes 3 for 12 from behind the arc again. I need a classic Steph Curry game, and I need Jimmy Buckets to be Jimmy Buckets. We'll find out. Tomorrow night, LA at Denver. Denver favored by 1.5 at the crib. That is a game 7 at home. I honestly don't know which way to lean in this game. This feels to me like, and I probably am overstating this. I'm probably overreacting to this. But it feels to me like if this game gets away from Denver, that this would be the last ride of Nikola Jokic as a Nugget. That dude has looked like in this series, the frustration has hit a boiling point. And Zoe, I can't tell if that is just that Eastern European temper out of Nikola Jokic, right? Because we've seen him when Jokic is on the floor, he tends to get pretty agitated. But Jokic has done everything but shush his head coach in this series. There was in game 4, I think game 4. There was a spot in game 4 where Jokic came to the bench and the interim head coach was standing there on the sideline with the clipboard ready to go. And Jokic walked over to him, took the whiteboard away from him, sat in the middle of the huddle, and Nikola Jokic was drawing up the play. Nikola Jokic was effectively serving as the head coach in that moment. And on one hand, you're like, I mean, the dude is the team leader. The dude is the heartbeat of the team. As much as I love Jamal Murray, as impressed as I have been with Jamal Murray over the past 3 years running, this is very clearly senior triple-double squad. So, I don't have an issue with him being the vocal leader. But for him to walk over, snag the clipboard out of the hands of the head coach, and then say, here's what we do when we get on the floor, made me feel not great vibes for the Nuggets. They'd lose that game. They would go on, win game 5, drop game 6, and that brings us to a game 7. It feels to me like if they lose this series to James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, that might end up being a breaking point where Jokic goes, yeah, I've had enough. You guys blew up the team. When young guys who built a championship team with us started to get to where they were playing good ball, when young guys that you guys developed within the system got to the point that it was time to shut up and pay the man, you let them all walk and basically said, hey, Jokic and Murray, carry these old, not as talented veterans to a title, and I'm over it. If the Nuggets lose tomorrow, I've heard the conversation a couple of times about, was that Giannis Antetokounmpo's last game as a Milwaukee Buck? I've heard the conversation, was that LeBron James' last game as a Laker or last game in the association period? And I think those are fair questions. The only one I think I would say, yeah, that's it, is if Jokic and the Nuggets lose this game to the Clippers tomorrow night, get bounced in round 1 by the ghost of Kawhi Leonard. That would be the spot for me. Game 7 between Golden State and Houston, if necessary, will take place on Sunday afternoon. Indiana and Cleveland will have game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals that will fire up on Sunday evening. I think I like Cleveland in that series, man. I think I like Cleveland as a team, but I think I like Cleveland in that series. I think that game could be a 7-game series. Oh, by the way, as a follow-up to what we talked about earlier this week, if you did not see it, the Pacers announced yesterday that Tyrese Halliburton's father, John Halliburton, will not be attending Pacers games home or away for the foreseeable future. There is no word on if that means through the Eastern Conference Finals, through a World Championship Finals, if they should make it there, or if it's just going to be for the next series. But they have come to an agreement that John Halliburton will not be attending any more games, games for the foreseeable future for the I don't know why I keep wanting to call them Indianapolis, for the Indiana Pacers. I think that's the right decision.
You're in the right state. Yeah, I think it is too. You got to do that. You've got to set a precedent. So, because there are so many copycats everywhere and things, before you know it, somebody else is going to attempt to do the same thing. So, you ban the guy and make sure that nobody else tries to do it. Doesn't mean they won't try, but
I do not think you can have a world in which, random people are coming off the court and going quite literally head to head with the, I don't know, first, second biggest star on the face of the planet right now. I think Giannis, if we were power ranking visibility of NBA players, it's LeBron, Steph, Giannis, right? I would say Jokic should be in that conversation. He's probably 4th, because he doesn't want to be in that conversation, and B, because, as I've said before, Nikola Jokic is your old uncle's favorite basketball player because there's zero flash to the game. It's just grit and fundamental. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is probably the 3rd most visible player in the league. If we take that conversation global, he's probably 2nd behind only LeBron James. I cannot have a world where any fan is able to come out onto the floor after a game and go quite literally face-to-face, head-to-head with the second or third most visible player on the face of the planet. Can't happen. Can't happen. Over in the National Hockey League, we got a couple of series games that need to be finished up, coming up on the docket this evening. Winnipeg is at St. Louis. This is a game 6. The Jets lead the series 3-2, but this one goes back to Missouri, and the Blues are favored by a minus 120 now, money line. That's actually grown. Some money coming in on the Blues to level this thing out at 3 games apiece before they go back to Canada. We will find out. I actually like Winnipeg to close it out tonight. I think the last game was a desperation Hail Mary game for the Blues. They were just throwing numbers forward at the Jets. I think with the opportunity, not having a panic game out of St. Louis, and with St. Louis being comfortable sleeping in their own beds last night, dressing out in their own lockers tonight, I think this is an excellent opportunity for Winnipeg to go ahead and put them away. Come out, play aggressive, get St. Louis on the back foot earlier than you did in the last one. Make St. Louis play from behind, because they are not built for that. That we've seen in every other game in the series so far. So give me Winnipeg to close out St. Louis tonight. I'll take Dallas to close out Colorado in game 7 at the crib. Colorado actually favored in that game, but the Stars have been damn near untouchable at the house, and I suspect that stays true. There is your sports games, plus the Braves hosting the Dodgers this weekend.
Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right, time to find out what is Xing and what Rob knows about it. First thing that's Xing is GTA 6.
Oh, I actually do know why this is Xing. GTA 6, which was expected to be released summer of 2025. I don't know if this was last night or earlier today, but apparently Rockstar has dropped an announcement that the most anticipated video game since, I don't even know, is getting pushed until 2026 now. This has been a long-running joke, because GTA 6 has been expected for like 3 years running now, and we still have not only not gotten it, we got like one commercial, and then it's just nothing ever since then.
All right, I figured out the next game that people are wishing would get here. That's the next Elder Scrolls game. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Dwayne.
Dwayne? What did Dwayne do this time?
He didn't really do anything.
Oh, good.
It's,
that's for the best.
It's kind of a special day, I suppose.
May 2nd?
Yeah. It's his birthday.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, I think you're trying to.
I was trying to come out like what is the what? This is the anniversary of The Rock did what?
What did The Rock do? Well, he was born. So
good job, Dwayne. Congrats on being born, Dwayne.
How old do you think he is?
52.
53, which sickens me.
Golly.
Why can't I look like that? Because I don't. Well, there's reasons. Anyway, All right. The next thing that's Xing is Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts came out last night. I'm hoping to go see it this weekend. I have gotten, mostly with one exception, I've gotten a bunch of people telling me it's actually an excellent movie. Alonzo said it was good, not great. Good.
It's good, not great. Full breakdown. Tune into the Upstate Pulse tomorrow. I'm not going to spoil, but I'll give you a breakdown.
I will. The wife asked me to wait. She got into the Marvel stuff, and she loves herself some Yelena. And of course, who doesn't? Florence Pugh did an excellent job with that character. She's hilarious.
And she's great. She is great. Okay, the movie overall, I just have a couple of problems with, but she is great.
I'm excited about it. Plus, David Harbour's awesome. So
yeah, he is too.
I'm in.
All right, and finally, it's been Xing all week, but I'm going to say it again. Free Comic Book Day.
Tomorrow.
That's right.
Borderlands Comics and Games.
410 South Pleasantburg Drive. Make sure you come out. I will be there at some point.
Go see Lonzo. celebrate Free Comic Book Day with a deep, passionate hug with the great one.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about the people doing it there because we're all cool. We're all nerds and nerds don't like the hug.
Nerds love the hug. I'm a nerd. I love the hug. And if you see our boy Rob Young at Borderlands, ask him about Dodgers Braves this weekend. He'll have thoughts.
He'll have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
You might be talking for a while.
That's my guy. Texture said, Rob, do you know what's going on in Spartanburg tonight? It's the Crit, a huge bicycle race in downtown Spartanburg, which is the largest cocktail party in the upstate, and it is amazing. It's like a hidden secret. You're welcome. Well, now I'm sad. I'm working tonight. You're telling me that
how late does it go?
I can't imagine that by the time I get done with the show at 11 and then in the car at 11:15 to get 40 minutes to the Berg, that they're still going to be partying. But if they are, I'm coming. I'll be there. That's it for us. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, you have bad taste in radio, and you should come back on Monday so we can try again. Bet for the Cycle tomorrow, noon to 4 on the BetMGM Network. Upstate Pulse tomorrow on our brother station, WORD, from 7 to 9. We are back on Monday. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a great weekend, everybody. See ya Monday on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
I want to go home and cuddle with my dog and watch some shows.
Me too. Except for the dog part, because I don't have a dog anymore. I'm definitely cuddling my cat. She just wants to stick her butt on you and go to sleep. I mean, it's just kind of she tries to get comfortable and she just boom, just romps down. It's like, come on. And then if she gets out of position, she has to do it again. It's very annoying. And what looked like was going to be a widow cat is like this long. I swear she's this long, and that's without the tail. When she jumps off of the counter, her belly hits the ground. It makes such a thud. It just she hunts mice though. That's what we got her for. She's a vicious killer.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
All right. Would you like any egg bites? They're a little bit cold.
Sure. Thank you very much.
You can have more than one.
I will take 2 of them.
Okay.
I'm starving. Where are these
Lonzo?
from?
Sure.
Costco?
Costco. Ha-ha.
Keep in mind we are still live on stream.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
right. Hey,
okay.
everyone's
Hi,
from Costco.
everybody.
I only want one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Oh, that's delicious too.
You want another one later?
Yep, I sure do.
There you
You're
go.
amazing. Thank you.
This is why a chair broke. I'm just pointing out.
Are you sure you don't want another one?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. This is actually really good. And I believe they are egg whites with veggies. So you're good.
I'm not feeling well, so I mean,
No more
you know,
broken chairs for me.
yeah.
All right, that's it for us. William, thank you, buddy.
Wonder what they're like if they're hot though. I'm guessing really good hot.
Probably really good. Probably really good. They're basically quiche. They're egg quiches. Quiches?
I believe it's just quiche.
The plural of quiche is quiche.
I believe so.
They're like egg quiche. They're like egg whites whipped, and then I'm gonna go spinach in there. Maybe a little kale.
I believe it's spinach.
They're pretty good.
It tastes like spinach, which is not a bad taste.
All right, y'all have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. You're amazing. I'm going to finish my egg quiches. Bye.